Tonight's episode of the Tuesday Night Cigar Club is brought to you by Drew Estate. Come experience the rebirth of cigars at www.drewestate.com and download the free Drew Diplomat smartphone app today to discover nearby retailers, RSVP to special events, redeem points to win exclusive Drew Estate merchandise, and much, much more.
This might be a big mistake, but I'm having too much fun to wait. Flag her down when she comes back by. That one's yours and this one's mine. Bring another round. 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 Bring another round.
Here's the suckers.
Good evening, brothers and sisters of the Leaf. Coming to you live once again from, well, all over the fucking place. It's the Tuesday Night Cigar Club. Tonight the boys congregate to discuss the 2002 creature feature, Killer Bees, starring none other than C. Thomas Howell, while reviewing the Murder Hornet cigar from Room 101, paired with a vast variety of tasty craft beers. I wonder if C. Thomas Howell is any relation to yours truly, Keith A. Howell. If you're listening to this, Pony Boy, give me a call and maybe we can grab a hot dog and a couple dozen beers together. What, you're too good to eat a hot dog and get stupid blackout drunk behind a 7-Eleven with your long-lost second cousin Keith? Well then, just forget it, you pretentious weasel. I'm not the one that made Soul Man. Anywho, it sounds like we're in store for one hell of a good time, folks. So sit back, light 'em up, and enjoy the show.
All right, boys. Let me take a little sip of my podcast serum.
All right.
Oh, man. This is my first beer drinking night of July. 21 days I've gone without beer.
Man, I'll give you just woo.
Well, I mean, don't carry me on your shoulders. Yeah, I've been drinking a shitload of bourbon and wine and margaritas. And
Okay.
I just replaced beer with other stuff. And now we're, after the debacle of last episode, we're back to beer tonight. I'm sorry I tried something new. It'll never happen again.
I fear change.
Well, that brings me to my opening thought here, Tut. To be or not to be? That is the question. Tut, you're a smarty pants now. If I'm holding a bee in my hand, then what's in my eye?
Holder?
Beauty, Tut.
Beauty. Oh, that's right. Damn, got the
Beauty.
saying wrong.
Beauty is in the eye of the bee holder.
Here I thought we were going to delve into some Hamlet.
And I for one think we're going to have a beautiful show tonight.
Oh,
I really do.
Oh boy.
Despite some weird technical problems that cropped up last episode, which I think are long behind us, took a big dump on all of our good times. I believe tonight's going to be different. And I'm fucking excited. How about y'all?
depends on how many of these B jokes are going to happen.
In case you're like Tut and wondering at home, no, the next 3 hours are not going to be filled with a bunch of terrible bee puns. It's going to be filled with laughs, great conversation, maybe a sprinkle of knowledge, and hopefully some words of encouragement for you lost souls out there who look to drunken idiots like us for inspiration.
All right.
Just remember out there, and I mean this, no matter what, always be yourself. Do your own thing. Do your own thing. All right, now I'm done with the bad bee puns.
Oh,
Well, I'm a buzz.
Oh,
Welcome everybody to the Tuesday Night Cigar Club, episode 142. We are getting drunk tonight, right? Or at least, like Yak said, buzzed.
oh.
Yes, folks, it's finally here. You've been asking for it for years. Our big bee episode. We're doing a bee movie tonight.
Don't we do B movies a lot of nights?
BEE.
Oh, hey.
All right, Tut. Yeah.
That's where the to be or not to be came in. I was wondering if we should do a B movie. And then Yax recently confessed to me that's almost a decade ago. He actually slept with B. Arthur. And it all just kind of came together. I'm like, we got to do this.
Respect, Yax. Respect.
Yeah,
He told me that in confidence.
Well, clearly you violated it.
And now the interwebs knows.
Are we recording?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Did she taste like honey?
God.
Anyway.
Almost, I almost threw up in my own mouth.
As you
Oh,
should. As you should.
Like the song, just like honey.
Uh-huh.
Who sings that, Doctor?
The Jesus and Mary chain.
Please, Mary Chain. They did not write it about B. Arthur, I believe.
I'll be praying to Jesus.
Oh, no, I forgot
I'll
my
be heading to the refrigerator right now.
Dude, this is a new record. We're not 2 minutes in. Everybody's leaving. Yax, it's just you and me, buddy.
ah,
Do you want to, while we wait for Tud and the doctor to go barf, do you want to tell your B. Arthur story?
no, I don't.
I'm back, and there is no B. Arthur story.
Oh. Okay. Well, Tut forgot his lighter, which is kind of crucial to what we do here at the Tuesday Night Cigar Club. We light cigars on fire and stick them in our mouths. So I'll just ask you, how you guys doing? It's been a week since our last episode. We did the Bob Odenkirk action film, Nobody. That's a sentence I never thought I'd say, a Bob Odenkirk action film, but I thought we had fun with it. We did have a little technical glitch on that show where I always tell people when they ask what we do on the show as far as the film's concerned, I'm like, well, we're a little bit different. We take you through the whole story like an old-timey radio play, scene by scene, and kind of tell you the whole story like in the old days. Last week's episode, it actually sounds like you're listening to an old-timey radio.
There was a lot of buzz going on there. That's true.
There's quite a bit of buzz, a little bit of sag, but you know what? That just added to the ambiance that, that'll be a show for the true diehards. But there was some good stuff in there if you are patient with it. But we're back in full stereo.
Fucked up
sound.
my Doc Brown impersonation. That was
It fucked up a lot. Tom.
oh god.
We had a lot of good stuff going last. But you know what? Like I said, you can still watch it. Hey, your favorite band, sometimes you listen to a bootleg of their concert. It's not the best quality, but it's your favorite band, and you still get the zeitgeist of the moment in that staticky recording. And so that's why I went ahead and put that show out there. Oh, and I'm too much of a lazy ass to re-record it. I'm going to talk about that movie for another 3 hours. So I was like, you know what? Let's just get back together and talk about a brand new movie. Drink some brand new beers, smoke a whole nother cigar. Because that's another great thing about last show. Tut got this incredibly powerful stout beer that we had the most nuanced, complex cigar, and he just basically coated his mouth with gasoline and couldn't taste any of it.
So we ruined everything.
We did not let him participate in the grading of. We ended up giving that cigar 92. Cut. It was really good.
Asterisks.
No asterisks.
The hardcore fans are going to know that they're going to put an asterisk behind that one.
Well, that's right. Well, what do we do here every week, folks? Just to recap, we talk our way through a feature film, whether it be current or from decades past. Sometimes one we've seen a million times, other ones that are brand new to all of us. We pair that film carefully with a premium cigar, and then we used to ideally pair those two with a craft beer. And then ever since 2020 hit and we've all had to go our separate ways and kind of get our own beers, some of us take that mission a little more seriously than others. Todd, I'm looking at you. I saw your beer for tonight.
And I've got a tie-in too.
All right, we'll see. You can prove me wrong. But anyway, we try to make all three things work together: the film, the cigar, and the beer. So I'm going to go ahead real quick and introduce tonight's cigar and get things started. It is the Murder Hornet by Room 101. If you remember, in 2020, things were bad enough. Murder Hornet started showing up in the United States.
I was about to say that's not timely at all.
This brand new species of hornets showed up that apparently could kill a man. It is a 5.5 by 44 Corona. It's a very light cigar in your hand.
Yeah, it is.
It is a Honduran Puro. Strictly Honduran.
Good.
I will save the price point for later. Remember the clown cigar we did 2 episodes ago?
Right. Yes.
The Ron.
Mm-hmm.
We featured that on episode 140, I believe. And the Murder Hornet is also, like that cigar, an exclusive release to Limited Cigar Association retailers, the LSA.
Okay.
They put out a limited number of cigars by different manufacturers and only send it to LCA retailers around the country. I was lucky enough to snag a few of these from one of my favorite retailers in the country, Stogie's World Class Cigars in Houston, Texas.
All right.
Jorge and Jenny Lee from Stogie's were on Yak Boy and I's trip to Cigar Safari last year in Nicaragua. We fast became friends. They're awesome people. I had been to their shop before, but now I try to buy as much as I can online from them as well. Their shop is really next level. Their lounge is crazy next level, impressive. So go check out Stogie's World Class Cigars in Houston, Texas for sure. Here's what LCA director Clark Thornton had to say about tonight's cigar. That's a fancy name, right?
I like that name, Thornton.
Clark Thornton. Room 101 cigars. Nah, that's just how I picture a guy named Clark Thornton talking. Room 101 cigars were largely Honduran cigars all throughout the early 2010s. That's true. All of Matt Booth's early stuff was Honduran in nature, but this is the first new line from Room 101 in many years that is made in Honduras. Murder Hornet is very reminiscent of Matt Booth's cigars from that time period. And for a long time, fans of the brand, for longtime fans of the brand, this certainly does feel like old school Room 101. That spoke to me. I'm a huge fan of old school Room 101. We're excited and proud to be able to offer this special cigar exclusively to LCA shops. A little backstory. We've had Room 101's Matt Booth on the show before, I believe last year. In the midst of the pandemic, he joined us. He's one of the best interviewees in the industry. Personally, I think it was at least top 2 interviews we ever did, Tut.
Oh my goodness, that dude was so hilarious.
It was great. He brought out a jewel-encrusted dildo out of a lunchbox.
How do you not respect that and rank it top 3? I mean, just that one deal. Forget the fact that he's a great personality and just an awesome, cool guy. But the moment he said that little, here's the jewel-encrusted dildo, it's like, oh, you're top 3. I'm sorry.
Yeah, he's just a great guy to talk to. But seeing as how he just did hundreds of interviews last week at the Big Vegas Trade Show, everybody was talking to this guy.
Yeah.
I thought, even though he said he's more than happy to come back on the show, I thought I would give him a break, and we'll get him next time around. I'd love to have him back, but all those manufacturers just have to be hoarse from peddling their wares and talking up their products in Vegas last week. So
I'm surprised they're not somewhere in the Alps just hiding out.
Exactly. So I gave him a pass, and that's all I'm going to tell you about the cigar. I got to tell you, the old school Room 101, the HN series, which I believe is Honduran, I got a box, an original box in the humidor, and I'll take one out every few months. They're so good. And the idea of going back to Honduras in this blend, and it's got me excited. It is a very earthy and sweet smelling wrapper.
I've got a nice little barnyard kicking right through there on the nostrils. I do want to do a quick PSA, though. Ladies and gentlemen, when you are watching your cigar heroes on your favorite video cast, and you see your cigar heroes putting their cigar up to their nose and sniffing all the wonderful smells and aroma that cigar happens, that is done in the comfort of our own presence, our own homes, and, maybe in front of each other if we're hiding it or if we're not hiding it. please do not do this in your lounge. Do not go to the humidor, some cigar shop, and start putting cigars up to your nose. That's not cool. And definitely don't say that you learned it from us when you were there.
Did you get in trouble for this, Tut?
No, I was just talking with a guy who owns this deal, and he goes, "You do not know how," because he was talking about people who come in there and like put their nose all up on this cigar, and he was like, and this was happening like right when COVID was coming out too, and I was like, "Is that really a problem? People are doing that?" And he goes, "Every freaking week somebody comes in there and does that," and I'm like, "Wow." So I just thought I'd help him out and give him a PSA.
It is earthy and sweet on the wrapper, and when you smell the food directly, Tud is correct. There's a strong barnyard essence, or as we call it here in Texas, rodeo stuff.
Rodeo stuff, good.
Smelling rodeo stuff. All right. Well, as we clip the, did you get anything? Have you clipped it yet? Did you get anything on the cold draw?
No, just grass.
It is kind of grassy. There's a little bit of that rodeo stuff.
Isn't that kind of like the equivalent of being in a beer store and cracking one open and taking a sip first? Like you really should have paid for it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll pick it up and look at it. I don't think I've ever shoved it up my nose. All right. Well, you know what? Because I've already called into question Tut's beer choice tonight as being lazy and just picking what he wanted to drink personally with no regards to the show or the pairing, I'm anxious to hear him prove me wrong. Yak Boy, our resident beer expert and owner and head bartender at O'Brien's Irish Pub in downtown historic Temple, Texas. As you do expertly every week, introduce our beers, starting with Tut.
Very well.
And can you make him stop dancing like that?
I can only do so much. My hands are full with beer and cigars on this side. What am I supposed to do?
Tut, I can't hear Yaks. You got to calm down, man.
Okay. All right.
You take your medicine today?
Yes.
Okay.
Coming from the wonderful Adelbert's Brewing out of Austin, Dale.
Dale.
What?
Dale.
Dale. It looks like Dale.
It is, but it's pronounced Dale.
Dale. All right. From wonderful Adelbert's Brewing, Dale. It's a Mexican style lager, 4.4%, 20 IBUs. Descriptions, Mexican style lager.
That is correct.
I looked for others, and that is all I found.
I did find one description on Untapped, but I did not send that your way because it was smells like stinky feet.
That would be
why was this beer made, Yaks, with the weird name of Dale?
Because they're people who like weird names from the brewery, I guess.
That is wrong. Dale.
I thought it had something to do with the soccer team that Tut follows.
And you are correct, sir. Dale is Latin, or in many Latin countries, is translated into "go for it." It is one of the sayings of Austin FC. Dale, 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 Austin FC. They are playing a game tonight. It is fortunately untelevised, so I can't watch it, and you get my full attention.
We're honored. So it's your favorite soccer team. A local brewery made a beer for it. It's a Mexican lager.
Yep.
Called Dale, which means go for it.
Yep.
I guess you're going to tie this in that there was a Mexican guy driving the B truck in tonight's movie.
There you go.
I'm going to go that's tenuous at best. We don't know that he was Mexican.
Come on, you're gonna see how
the truck had Mexican plates.
You're gonna see C. Thomas Howell, go for it all night. So let's go.
Actually, he doesn't go for it. That's one of my biggest problems with it.
Now I'm just going to call him B. Thomas Howell.
Okay.
I kind of like that one.
That's his brother.
Oh, sorry.
All right. I'm still gonna just go with Tut wanting to drink this beer and got all excited about it. Which is fine. Is it good, Tut?
It is a very traditional Mexican style lager. Definitely has more taste rather than your Dos Equis, I would put it. It's not as sweet as like a Pacifico, but it's not as heavy as Bohemia, but I would put it between those two beers.
Okay.
It is crisp and refreshing.
Speaking of crisp and refreshing, first impressions of this cigar, a real mild pepper spice through the nose and a really light and refreshing kind of breadiness and earth on the draw. It's a very mild, smooth smoke so far.
Yeah, you're nailing it. That is good. Yeah, there is a little bit of spice on that palate as well. It's keeping me entertained.
Okay. Keep thinking on it. We'll move on to the doctor. See what this son of a bitch is drinking.
The good doctor, of course, came to blow all of our socks off. He's drinking Pantera Golden Ale.
He's plugging in into his amps and going full throttle, far beyond driven doctor. The cowboy from hell himself.
The cowboy from hell, baby. And
Pantera
not
Golden
a
Ale
missing
made by
cemetery gates.
Pantera Golden Ale is made by the Texas Ale Project, located there in wonderful Dallas, Texas.
Local beer.
Producing wonderful ales since 2014. The Golden Ale is 5.4%, only 16 IBUs. It is a Golden Ale. This one actually came about as a collaboration with the band Pantera, and it just started and was just released here this year in March.
Okay. Well, I guess there's only 2 members of Pantera still alive, so
Yes.
the other 2 died of alcoholism. So
we lost Paul a few years ago.
That's not true at all. Actually, it was a very sad story. Dimebag, the guitarist, was shot on stage at a concert, and then his brother, the drummer, Vinnie Paul, died. Just 3 years ago, maybe?
Yeah.
But they were legendary. Not only were they extremely talented musicians, they were legendary party animals, especially up in the Dallas area, strip clubs. I think Vinny or Dimebag had a swimming pool that was shaped like the Crown Royal bottle that was kind of famous for after hours parties.
Vinny did. Apparently, there was a legendary party 20 years ago in 1999 when the Dallas Stars hockey team won the Stanley Cup. Vinny was a big Stars fan and was frequently seen at the hockey games. And apparently that after they won the Stanley Cup, that one of the players somebody was just recounting this on the radio, but I had heard about it a long time ago, that one of the players called up Vinny and was like, okay, get your house ready for a party. And apparently he went and got 20 cases of Crown Royal and hired every stripper in town. And they had a huge blowout while they were all drinking whiskey out of the Stanley Cup at his house.
Oh man. I got a contractor out here at the house a couple of years ago. I wanted to build a pool shaped like a can of Steel Reserve malt liquor. And the costs were just astronomical. In that it would have cost me my marriage. And I didn't want to do that. So I scrapped that.
Sounds about right.
Is it good?
It's very good. So I was almost going to get the is it made by that company that makes Revolver? They've got the
honey, the Guns and Honey or whatever.
They've got the honey beer, but I could have sworn in the ether banks of my Tuesday Night Cigar Club memory, which we've proven is not reliable, that I had it before.
I've had it. I hate it. I hate that blood and honey cigar.
It wasn't blood and honey. I think it was made by the same company. It actually has a B on the can. It's called the honey lager or something like that. And I could have sworn I'd had it and also sworn I didn't like it.
Okay.
So it's a loose approximation at best, but since it has the word golden in it, golden ale, golden honey, but you know what? That's a stretch. Honestly, I saw the B one. I was like, I don't want to try that. I think I've had it. I looked around. I couldn't find anything. And so that's the best I can do. I kind of bailed down on it, but I thought the fact that it was actually a Pantera beer sort of kind of trumped anything else.
It's fucking Pantera. It goes with everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I do get a few things my way.
Yeah, no, you definitely, you've got a better pairing grade than Tut so far.
Wouldn't you say that there are people in tonight's film that are going to find their way to the cemetery gates?
Yes, I would.
Oh, man.
Okay. Well, Yak Boy, my first beer, I picked out two. I couldn't decide. I try so hard to come up with interesting pairings. If I find more than one, I just got to do them both. My first beer tonight caught my eye because it has this wasp-like winged stinging creature on the bottle.
That's the Balrog from Lord of the Rings. No. It's supposed to be the Jabberwocky.
It's a Jabberwocky. What is a Jabberwocky, Yak Boy?
It is a unknown creature from the story. Just Jabberwocky. But
right.
I am more concerned because as I looked at the stats on this, it is an Imperial IPA from Lone Pint Brewing, located in Magnolia, Texas. Been producing fine beer since 2012. The Jabberwocky is 8.5%. And by their description, by their rating, 114 IBUs.
I smell notes of bullshit, but not in it. Let me temper that with this. When I first poured this, it has a wonderful color. It's got a really nice papaya kind of really rich fruit smell on it. The taste is great. I really enjoying the beer. Most Imperials I've had, Yaks, have been well over 11%. Yeah. 8.5 seems weird for an Imperial IPA.
Well, I looked further into this because I was like, why is it, 114? Because basically, they made the scale for like 1 to 100. What made you so great that, let's just throw that last out and go 114.
Yeah.
Seems pretty arbitrary, but they do say in their description of the brewing process that it's hopped so heavily that the hop mash at the bottom of the ferment is over a foot deep.
Oh man, they're really shoveling that shit out there. I would put it 80s, which is still really up there. I mean, it's got a really tingly hot bite on the back end, but it's just got that really nice smooth creamy front end, and then the hot bite on the back. It's very good. The reason I picked the Jabberwocky, what's the name of the brewery again? Yes,
Lone Pint.
They do a Yellow Rose IPA, which it was my IPA of 2020 when I was locked at home. I was doing curbside groceries, and my local grocery store had that Yellow Rose, and it was so damn good. Don't get it on draft. It does not taste the same on draft, but in the bottles, and these are bigger than normal bottles. How much is this? Like maybe 16 ounces or?
Should be a 16 or a little over.
Yeah, it's a pretty big bottle. Anyway, it tastes completely different on draft. I don't care for them, but that Yellow Rose is a really, really great, easy drinking IPA. So I like the brewery, and I went with this. And man, that's 2 for 2. This is a delicious beer, and it's giving this kind of toasty, mild spice cigar a really nice element that it's missing with the hot bite. Yeah, really good so far. Really, really good.
And you giving me shit about my tie-in? At least I'm paying respect to the Latino Hispanic dude driving the thing.
It's a crazy stinging wasp on the bottle.
No, it's a Jabberwocky. It's a different thing.
It's clearly they made it look like the Balrog from Lord of the Rings, except it's not on fire. I'm just saying.
Well,
the Balrog did have a very stinging wit I guess that counts for something.
A whip or wit, like he was witty.
No,
Whip.
he didn't speak.
Like an Indiana Jones fire whip.
Oh, okay. Well, look, I'm sorry. I watched the Lord of the Rings movies drunk because how else could you watch those fucking things? All right.
A
Well,
whole other conversation here in a minute.
With
I've-
enthusiasm is how you watch them.
I've got another beer, so I'm covered. If you didn't like that one, I've got another one later on, and I believe that's what Yax is about to drink now because we were at the store together.
Yes, from the good friends at White Stone Brewery, located there in Tucson, Cedar Park.
Yeah, good
Ray
deal.
Ray Hazy IPA. The Ray Ray 7.3%, 50 IBUs, which I'll say is spot on, very medium. They describe it, and of course, yes, the tagline and their little logo here is the Buzz Fairy.
Buzz Fairy.
What else does buzz? Oh, bees go buzz. But they have described it as having aromas of pineapple, orange, and mango, as well as generous amounts of Galaxy Simcoe and Eldorado hops that'll blow your socks off.
Are your socks blown off, Yax?
I'm wearing flip-flops, so I don't have any socks on.
Jesus, man. Nothing's going right tonight. I knew after last show we should have just called it quits. He's wearing flip-flops. He can't get his socks blown off. If Doc hadn't picked that kick-ass Pantera beer, I'd be out of here right now.
I mean, the only way it could actually be better is if every time he just cracked open a can, it actually just played a Pantera song.
All right. You watch. It's going to happen.
It
I
could
wish
happen.
it would.
Who knows what may start happening as the evening goes on.
Okay. Well, I know you haven't lit up yet, so as you light up, we'll talk about how that's.
I lit up.
Oh, you did? When'd you
Snuck it in.
sneak that in? How's it going with the hazy?
It's very good. Hazy, like I said, it does have a little bit of sweetness from their description. I mean, obviously it is an IPA, so you got that floral citrus, but it's in that middle road of IBUs are not in any way impacting the palate for this cigar. So like, that initial light up, little spice blast there, but it's gone down. And then of course, same that you had mentioned on the cold draw, just sort of that, earthy grass. And then, a little bit of sweetness on the wrapper. Just that, but right now, I mean, I'm just getting into it, so we'll see.
I'm actually getting a little bit of sweetness coming through on that palate with the toast, toast of that earth. Are you getting that, Tut?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not beer induced because the Mexican lager is not providing any sweetness whatsoever. But yeah, I was making a note of that.
And that's something that if it's not there from the get-go, it usually doesn't show up later, that nice sweetness. Man, sweetness, earth, and toast mixed with a really nice balanced spice. These are good things. These are things I like. These are things I like to say about cigars.
Yeah, I'm glad that you went Honduran because I was actually thinking about that this week. I was like, it's been a while since I've had Honduran cigar, and Honduran cigars have like a unique smell to them. I really appreciate that. And so I was looking forward to revisiting them, and you preempted me.
I want to say, the few times we've gone really heavy on the Honduran is probably when we featured the Oscar Videra stuff. He's based in Honduras and is, really big in Honduran tobaccos, whereas, we kind of mainly get Nicaragua centric focus with a lot of stuff, and they dabble in little things here and there, but, Oscar's kind of the big thing in Honduras right now.
I'm glad that you said that because the moment you said that, I don't want to say that I got a 2012 type profile, but now that I'm getting a little bit more educated in Honduran tobaccos, it's more of just a general Honduran profile. I like that.
And at the end of the first third where I'm at now, that spice is picking up a little bit in the nose too. So I like that
Yeah, I'm
That-
getting some pretty heavy spice kicking across.
I'm
that
liking
thing.
that fluctuating intensity of the spice through the nose, and then the introduction of some sweetness with the earth and toast on the draw. Very, very nice.
Now,
Well,
granted,
speaking-
I'll be finished with this cigar in 10 minutes.
Smoke slow, my friend. It'll reward you for it. Speaking of cigars, y'all know who makes some really flavorful ones, don't you?
Who's that?
That's right, Yak Boy. Our good friends over at Drew Estate. And one of their most flavorful offerings in their vast portfolio is the Herrera Steli Miami. Crafted by Level 9 Cuban rollers at the famed El Titan de Bronze on Calle Ocho, the Herrera Steli Miami line is expertly rolled with a lavish,
I've heard it both ways.
damn it, I was good for like 3 shows. I said that right. A lavish Ecuadorian Habano Oscuro wrapper over a rich Ecuadorian Sumatran binder with select fillers from the Dominican Republic and Nicaragua. The new look of Herrera Steli Miami features rich black and gold packaging and is available in 5 sizes. This tasty cigar is now available at Drew Diplomat retailers everywhere, so go get you some. I'd also like to take a moment to talk about something very cool, Cigar World. Cigar World is an online site for cigar smokers just like you. And even if you're not, head over there and you might just get enticed enough to light up and try one. At Cigar World, you can get cigar news, reviews, and a whole lot more. Also on the site is a cigar research panel called the Testing Lab. You can sign up to give your input on new cigars by taking surveys and actually testing cigars themselves. Check it out at cigarworld.com/testing lab. You might just run into our own doctor there. He loves surveys, research, all that doctor shit.
Especially when somebody else does it.
If you still put your name on it,
Oh, of course. And
You're
I do love a good lab environment.
you're their preceptor. You're you make sure everything's going good.
I show up from time to time.
Boys, we've talked about what we're drinking. We've talked about what we're smoking. There's one thing left, what we're watching. The film.
It's time for the movie.
Killer Bees, 2002. Killer Bees.
Killer
Doctor-
Bees.
Doctor, were we alive in 2002? What were we doing?
Man,
Oh.
stomping on the terror like a couple of young bucks.
We were probably not sitting at home on a Saturday night watching this movie on the Sci-Fi Channel.
Probably not. Probably we were outside
We're out hell raising.
buzzing around like hornets.
Buzzing. Oh, we were buzzed. I'm sure we were buzzed. The film is written by Dana Stone, and it's directed by Penelope Budenhuis, who also directed the 1990 film Tokyo Girls, which when I went to check that out, for research purposes, I'm a professional. It turned out to be an actual straightforward documentary and not at all what I was in the mood for. So I turned it off immediately. I can't tell you anything about Tokyo Girls. I gave it an F-. All right. You guys ready to dig into this?
Yeah, let's go.
We start things off with some tense, suspenseful ambient music as I watch these things with subtitles on, so I just get a kick when they tell me what kind of music is playing. As we soar over a giant field of flowers and crops from a bumblebee's perspective. We then join a young boy around 10 years old named Lyndon and his father as they play catch out in front of their farmhouse. The dad is quizzing the kid on all sorts of farm and livestock trivia. He also asks the boy to recite the 4 H's, which his son does. I quote, "My head to clear thinking, my heart to greater loyalty, my hands to greater service, and my health to better living." I had this moment, which I can't believe I got from a movie called Killer Bees. I thought that was really cool that his dad taught him that. And then I realized I only maintain one of the 4 H's.
I know in 2001, I was putting my hands to greater service.
Oh, God, that was the Travis Tritt tour.
I always thought it was hooch, hops, hose, and hibachi.
I like those 4 H's.
No, I only maintain one of those really good 4 H's. I'm a very loyal fucker. for better or for worse. Usually for worse, it always ends up biting me in the ass. But I blame that on that nobody in my formative years ever took the time to teach me any codes or heavy life lessons. And the dad is really committed to making his kid learn these and recite them over and over again. This father actually gives a shit.
He was probably studying for 4-H class because I believe that's the 4-H motto.
I think the father actually gave a shit. Oh, is that what it is?
I think so.
Yeah, haven't you heard like the 4-H club?
That's what it is, the 4-H club?
The ag kids at school.
They were all kind of dicks.
Yeah, they were.
Yeah, it wasn't like some inner philosophy handed down.
I thought this was a Harris family thing passed down for generations. Really good.
The 4-H club. Those are the 4-H's.
Oh, what an idiot.
You thought like that was some like generational thing, like his grandfather had told him.
Yes.
Son, I'm about to pass down to you what the.
And I was like, how did the chick who wrote this script, which this crazy stupid script, actually come up with these 4-H's? I'm like, I'm going to start teaching my kids these. These are really good.
Y'all want to call this thing off? Just start listening to some Pantera.
So if I teach,
I want to go put some tense ambient music on, and then listen to the 4-H mottos recited.
So if I make my kids recite the 4-H's, do they also have to like raise pigs and shit in my backyard?
I hope not.
Only if they're part of the organization.
Could I eat them for bacon?
Yes, that's kind of what they're doing, is raising them for
Would
bacon.
I have to slaughter them too?
Well, how is she going to get the bacon?
Forget it.
It doesn't just fall off of them and
You get it at the grocery store, asshole.
from the pigs that you were just raising.
I can't believe I fell for that. I thought there was such a special thing, and it was such a cool, like, man, those are really good H's, the 4-H's. All right. Well, let me ask you this. Do you guys have any mantras or sayings that you were taught as a kid that you still hold dear and use them to guide you along life's path?
No. I have my own that I adopted.
No, I don't want your own. Like, was anything told to you as a kid that stuck with you? Did anybody give a shit enough about you to make you recite some codes that you held to your heart?
My dad looked at me one day while we were out on a walk. We were walking from my grandparents' house. And he said, son, this world doesn't owe you anything. This world doesn't know who you are. And if it finds out who you are, it's going to do its best to kick you in the teeth. Thanks, Dad.
I actually had a friend who his dad printed out his 10, and his dad was very successful, came from nothing into a very successful businessman. And he actually wrote out his 10 rules to life. And both of his sons had them up on their walls. I'm not going to comment to whether they followed those rules or recited or committed those rules to memory. But all I remember is the bottom rule, the last one. It was this 9 inspirational things that he had learned over the course of his life, coming from rags to riches. And then the last rule is the only one I remembered, because I respected the hell out of this guy. And it was never forget, people are fucking nuts.
True phrase.
Yeah. Well, because I didn't have a dad tell me all this stuff, Eazy-E was kind of my substitute father figure growing up. So I guess I can pass along lines of wisdom like this at some point. Police on my drawers, so I had to pause. 40 ounce in my lap, and it's freezing my balls.
I mean, that's poetry.
I'm going to relay that to my kids someday when they're ready. Or maybe this one I hold dear in my heart. Hit my switches, collect from my bitches, the money that I'll make so I can add to my riches. I call that the 3 itches.
It's just,
again, one day when they're ready. Doctor, I think in 2002, we were probably cruising around with a 40 ounce freezing our balls.
I was out on the streets and my record was clean. I creeped on the bitch with my Uzi machine.
See? He can't tell you what happened yesterday, but he can tell you what Easy E told him 20 years ago. Rest in peace, Eric Wright.
I'm the dope man. Yeah, boy, wearing corduroy. Money up
Suck
here.
on these nuts. Suck on these nuts.
Tuttle, have you ever had a 40-ounce freezing earballs? I don't think so.
No, I had a rattlesnake wine cooler.
I was going to say, you guys weren't drinking 40s on the Travis Tritt bus.
No. Mm-mm.
Okay. What a weird little moment there. I can't believe
It has been a weird several minutes. I think have really taken a turn that I didn't see happening.
But you know what? I think we learned a lot about not just each other, but about childhood and life.
Yeah, I really do appreciate the easy life lessons.
When police are on your drawers, pause. Even if that 40 ounce is freezing your balls. And I realize pause and balls doesn't rhyme, but when he said it, it did. That's why he was easy fucking E. Anywho, I did like this father, so I was sad to see him get killed by a swarm of angry bees a second later. You see, his doofus son, Lyndon, missed catching a baseball, so it rolled under a big junk pile nearby, and when he reached in to retrieve it, the kid got attacked by bees, and his heroic dad raced over to save his son and ended up paying the ultimate price. That was the fifth H he taught his son. Holy shit, that hurts! Go get fucking help! Oh, that's like 3 more H's. The 7 H's, son. Holy shit, that hurts! Help! Doctor, have you ever seen, and did you guys notice when the little boy stuck his hand in there with the bees? It was a total grown man hand.
No, I didn't.
It was the little boy's shirt, but it was this giant stuntman hand going in there. Doctor, have you ever treated anybody at your office who'd been attacked by bees or wasps or, God forbid, murder hornets?
Myself, actually.
Really?
I once was jogging along a nice pathway, passing some flowers and so forth in a residential neighborhood. And I all of a sudden felt it. And I had one of those sleeveless shirts on where there's a little room under the armpit area because it was a warm summery day. And I felt it right under the armpit, that fleshy part like that. I felt it and it hurt so bad. I went, oh, fuck. And it was one of those bumblebees where it must have been dead because it you know, apparently they sting you, and when they put the stinger in, they die, right? Or so, because I looked down there, and there it was the black stinger was in that my lower lat area, and it was kind of barbed, you know, so I real carefully pulled that out, but it really kind of swelled up. But it was just the one bee, Cade, so I didn't need to seek medical attention. But I gave myself some of my own medicine that I keep around the
I actually, my worst sting ever was also the armpit. I was in the Bahamas one summer. My grandparents had a sailboat. We'd go down there and sail for the summer. And I was swimming off a dock, and a Portuguese man-o-war, which is basically a very mean jellyfish, stung me right across my armpit. And it also leaves things in you, only they're sea things, so that makes it much creepier and weirder and grosser. Oh God, it swelled up like a football under my armpit. It was terrible. Oh God, it was terrible.
Yeah, at least the bee stinger, I was able to pull it right out of there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it left a little bit of a lump there for a couple of days.
Little Texas trick: if you're ever stung by a Portuguese man-o-war on the Gulf Coast of Texas, just pee on that sumbitch.
That's not really a Texas trick. Everybody knows that, and I did too. Even though I was, 9 or 10 years old, luckily my member was big enough where I could grab it and aim it up and just pee all over my armpit it was like you take the extension off your kitchen sink and just spray under there. It was I was fortunate in that regard.
The truth is, he was in his early 20s and he was going to a club that night where dudes pee on each other.
Again, doctor, I told you that in confidence.
I had to pay my way through college somehow.
That is true. But I had no one around to pee on me that I was comfortable asking that of. All right. Well, we jump ahead about 25 years or so, where the young boy has grown up to be Sheriff Lyndon Harris of the small farming community of Sumas, the same little Washington town that he was raised in, that he directly caused his dad's death in. Did y'all notice as we watch him cruise around his patrol car, he's listening to local news on the radio, and after the report on struggling farmers waiting on government assistance and subsidies, they cut to sports, and as soon as the news guy was like, "It was really nail biter of a baseball game last night," Sheriff Lyndon quickly cut off the radio. He knows what he did. Any 3-year-old could have caught that pass from his dad. He let it. He let it soar over his head.
I was like, "Why are you pointing this?"
He made his poor mother a widow. I'm not pointing it out. When he cut off the radio, I realized the director and the screenwriter wanted us to know.
Yeah.
He killed his dad.
It was an accidental death.
It was at least involuntary manslaughter.
And they cut the radio off then because they didn't want to make up phony ball scores. It was a heck of a ball game last night, Clay. That way they don't have to go.
Anytime he hears about baseball, it reminds him about how he's responsible for his father's death. Yak Boy, what familiar actor is playing Sheriff Lyndon in this thing we're watching?
E. Thomas Howell.
The one and only Thomas Howell?
No, I said B. Thomas Howell.
B. Thomas Howell.
No.
C. Thomas Howell's brother.
Howell.
What's the C stand for?
Cool.
Christopher.
No. I'm going to go with cool.
That'd work if he was cool.
He is cool.
You like C. Thomas Howell?
He's done some things.
I know I shouldn't like him, but there's something about him that I'm like, all right, you're cool.
What's your guys' favorite C. Thomas Howell movie? Mine, obviously, I'm going to go the easy one because it's just a goddamn wonderful movie, and he's really good in it. I'm going to go The Hitcher with Rutger Hauer.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just when I think of C. Thomas Howell. I know he's been in a lot, but for me, that's the cream of the crop. Doctor?
That's the one where he's really the lead actor. I mean, he's been in classic movies. Obviously, he was in E.T. as one of the bike riding kids, Red Dawn, and The Outsiders, although those are really
Hate keeps me warm.
He was good. He was really good in Red Dawn.
It was really good in Red Dawn. I don't know if you can call that a C. Thomas Howell movie, though.
No. I'm just talking about anything he's been in.
Man, if it's anything he's been in, then
wasn't he the bus driver in one of those new Spider-Man movies?
No, he was a crane operator.
Crane operator. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know much about his later career, so
That's even worse.
Sad.
That's kind of worse than bus driver. Crane operator number 2.
Damn. I was in Outsiders.
He was what? Doc in The Outsiders. He's what? Pony Boy?
I think it was Pony Boy.
Yeah. And I like The Outsiders, but I definitely like Red Dawn more.
Yeah. He was just like I said, he's one of those guys that where I'm always like, I kind of want to make fun of him, but every time I see him in something, I'm like, you're cool.
You know what's funny? The Outsiders is kind of like one of those iconic movies that film students say they like because the director and the early, it's kind of like that Barry Levinson movie Diner. Oh, you gotta like Diner. Like nobody really likes Diner. Nobody really watches that movie over. Like it's my favorite. Nobody likes these fucking Outsiders. They like, it's interesting because you had Tom Cruise. You had Swayze, C. Thomas Howell.
Everybody was in The Outsiders.
Yeah,
everybody.
That's the only thing good about The Outsiders. It's not really that great a movie.
Matt Dillon, Ralph Macchio.
It was a great date night movie. I don't know what y'all talking about.
Well, they managed somehow. They captured all these guys at one moment some of them were, and they were all kind of sort of well known even at the time for being, for being that age of an actor. But to collect them all in one movie, and then now you see where they all went from there.
I'm just like, oh, hey, baby, you like C. Thomas Howell and Patrick Swayze, Tom Cruise, Ralph Macchio? Well, you're out on a date with this.
I don't
Red Dawn is a 10 times better film than The Outsiders.
It is.
Todd, I know you're a little bit older than us, but you weren't taking chicks to dates for the Outsiders. That was like 80.
It was my first VHS stay at home renting a movie.
Oh, so you had a chick come over and watch it. Okay. All right. I was like,
parents were away, so
I was like, Tut's taking a chick to the drive-in to see The Outsiders. He's like 10 years older than us. What the hell?
Well, it's behind the pine curtain, Cade. It was
fair enough.
Grew up fast over there.
The doctor actually stumbled across the C. Thomas Hefeweizen at his liquor store earlier, and he just wasn't in the mood for another Hefeweizen. It would have been a great pairing.
With a Pantera beer instead. I couldn't do the C. Thomas Hefeweizen.
You can't not do the Pantera beer. I do want you to revisit that C. Thomas Hefeweizen, though.
I'll look into it.
If we do the Spider-Man movie, that would really work when we're talking about Crane Worker number 2. Played by Christopher Thomas Howell.
Stay tough, Pony Boy. Stay tough.
Hold your head high, Pony Boy.
Come on, Pony.
Real quick, because this cigar is burning quickly.
Although it did feature this immortal line from Swayze to Pony Boy. Pony, you smoke more than a pack today, and I'm going to kill you.
Keep it under a pack.
Yeah. He was 14. So.
What age did Patrick Swayze die of lung cancer?
50s.
That's mean. It's too soon.
Too soon?
Too soon.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Swayze was Pony's big brother. He was looking out for him. He was telling him, don't smoke more than a pack today.
Hey, I love Swayze. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to ruffle any feathers. I'm sorry.
It's okay. A little sensitive.
Sorry. I almost went with the Patrick Swayze triple Belgium tonight, and I could have made that work, but I didn't. That beer's like the wind of my dreams.
Hey, who knows? If you drink enough of it, you might have the time of your life.
Hey, I'd owe it all to that beer. This is stupid. Oh God, don't dance. Don't do it. This cigar is smoking very quickly. I'm already down to the band. I am still getting that sweetness has hung on there with the toast and that earth. The spice keeps just kind of flirting with going up and down and up and down. Man, this is kind of the cigar I wanted tonight. It is just really tasty.
Yeah, on that last, coming into the final third, the toast for me has really picked up on that palate.
It's almost overtaken. It's almost overtaken the earth, but that sweetness is still there. That kind of rich sweetness enveloping the toast, and then that.
And you're right that spice is kind of pushing, letting go, pushing and letting go.
Let a cigar be complex and interesting with the spice fluctuations. Introduce something like that sweetness out of nowhere in the second third and let it ride it out. And then take the best thing about the cigar, which the toast on the palate, and let that be your central profile going into the final third.
Yeah,
man, I got no complaints about this guy.
I'm also getting just a small hint of jalapeno on the retro hell. Jalapeno.
The spice, that might be your Mexican lager.
No, it could be.
No, actually the spice, as it changes on the nose, the spice has actually gone from kind of a flat black pepper into kind of a more vegetable jalapeno. I'll give you that. Sure. Man, I'm liking it. I'm liking it a lot. And the construction's great. Great burn line, no relights, even as much as we've been talking. Very, very good cigar. You agree, Yax?
I do. I agree with that. I mean, I can definitely say that spice has changed a little bit. I mean, my only complaint on the cigar is just how fast it went.
Yeah. No, it's not going to stick around for long.
And I'm just like
that. Sadly,
I thought I was smoking slow, and I looked down because you just said, "Oh, I'm almost to the band." It's like, no, he just burned through. I look over, I'm like, oh wait, so am I.
yeah.
And literally to the band. Like
Those thin Coronas, you gotta be mindful of for sure. Okay, and it's going great with the Jabberwocky IPA. It's really adding some strength and flavors that aren't there. That hot bite is working really great because the cigar has, man, light to medium body and medium strength. The beer's really giving it a nice punch that it's not getting. And the way you guys described your beers, I can't imagine it's interfering at all.
no. The Ray IPA, same thing. It's like I said, it's 50 IBUs. That citrus floral element fits well with the cigar. I mean, is not overpowering in any way.
I actually think that one probably is a better pair. I'm gonna switch to that one next. Okay. Well, what's up with the scene where Sheriff Lyndon's driving around? Actually, don't answer this because we're gonna find out later. He smiles to himself and says, time to go see good old Norbert. And when he pulls over to say good morning to this farmer dude named Norbert, who's fixing his property fence, good morning, Norbert. The guy just gives him this go to hell look and gives him the cold shoulder. Seems as though Sheriff Lyndon isn't too popular around town. Maybe the locals really liked his dad, and they still hold him accountable for his dad's death. I know I did.
He was just a little kid. It was an accident. Let go.
So the sheriff heads over to his house for breakfast, where it turns out his teenage son Dylan and his soon-to-be ex-wife Audrey aren't big fans of him either. Apparently, Lyndon is responsible for killing his marriage, just like he killed his father, so there's a lot of resentment in the home. His younger daughter, Cassidy, seems to be okay with him, though, so there's that. His wife, Audrey, who he's separated from, is played by actress Tracy Nelson. Doctor, tell us a little bit about this interesting actress.
Yes, Tracy Nelson is the daughter of the one and only Ricky Nelson, former teen idol and actor himself, Rio Bravo, I think.
Rio Bravo,
Real
man.
bravo. Yeah.
And also a very popular musician throughout the 50s and 60s.
Grew up with him on Ozzy and Harriet.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, little Ricky. Right? No, that was Lucy. That was I Love Lucy. Little Ricky.
Ricky
He
was
was
in
the
there.
father of the two guys that were in the band Nelson. Tracy is their brother. Their
Dude,
sister.
she's the sister of Nelson.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, doctor, give me a little taste.
I can't live without your love and affection.
I can spend another night on my own.
It's not Pantera, but it is what it is.
And get this, not only is she Ricky Nelson's daughter and boy rock band Nelson's sister, she has appeared in 4 of our beloved Wrong movies
Yes.
for the Lifetime Network. The Wrong Child, The Wrong Child, The Wrong Stepmother, The Wrong Prince Charming, and The Wrong Friend, which I was kind of disappointed at. I actually just wrote a script called The Wrong Friend, and I guess it's already been done.
And ignoring that, there were also several other films on her resume that had titles, which, although they didn't have the wrong whatever in it, were clearly LMN movies.
Get this, doctor. To that point, she's also appeared not only in 4 Wrong movies, in 4 Perfect movies: The Perfect Spouse, The Perfect Nanny, The Perfect Tenant, and The Perfect Game.
Man, she's all zen.
That is a
Yin
fascinating.
and yang.
That
Is
is
there no word that they just won't attach something else to and make a Lifetime movie from it?
that's a fascinating filmography. I instantly recognized her as Janet from Seinfeld. There's a great episode where George is dating this girl named Janet, and everyone thinks she looks like Jerry. So they think that he's dating her because he's secretly in love with Jerry. And then at the end of the episode, she gets her hair cut short like Jerry. Oh, dude, it's a classic episode, and she's really, really good at it. So that's where I immediately recognized her from. Well, here in this thing we're watching tonight, she's depressed and constantly annoyed with her estranged sheriff husband. Due to their impending divorce, she's just had to take a new job as assistant manager at the Dairy Castle.
Ouch.
Y'all thought your life sucked. Well, one good thing comes from breakfast. Lyndon gets to sample some honey that his daughter has produced for a school project. She's cultivating a hive of bees for her rural youth club. See, if they had said 4-H club, maybe I would have put it together with the 4-H's. Her rural youth club.
Well, there's probably some rights they have to kick back.
Yeah,
you know.
so they made up their own thing. Lyndon does not like bees one bit, obviously, but he likes his honey. Well, he and his old lady get into a big argument about him working with Mayor Ditwaller to help evict struggling farmers from their homes and land. So that's why Farmer Norbert gave him the cold shoulder in the morning. The farmers hate him because he's working with the banks and the mayor to foreclose
the
them.
muscle.
Yeah, C. Thomas Howe is the muscle. Especially, she doesn't understand how he could help him after Ditwaller and his bank kicked Lyndon's own family off his daddy's farm recently. It beats living off food stamps, Audrey. Sheriff Schlub tells her, and then he bolts. Dude, this guy kicked them out of their own farm, and he's still working for this guy.
It does beat living on food stamps, though.
Some mellow, tense music plays as Sheriff Lyndon drives out to the Gilman farm, taking his wedding ring off on the way. He's finally like, I can't take this bitch anymore. I'm done with this. Mayor Ditwaller and some other bank officers are there waiting for him to help kick Farmer Gilman and his old wife out of their ancestral home that the bank has foreclosed on. Upon the sheriff's arrival, old man Gilman steps out on the front porch and fires his shotgun up in the air, causing Mayor Ditwaller to hit the deck with his toupee flying off in the process. That's pretty funny. The mayor gets up and puts his hair back on and demands that Zeke Gilman be arrested for attempted murder. But Sheriff Lyndon just shrugs it off. Then the old timer sneaks out the side door and takes off in his pickup truck, which the bank also owns now. So Mayor Ditwaller demands the old guy be arrested for grand theft auto. But Lyndon says, those charges won't stick either. He's trying his best to cut these families a little bit of a break.
Yeah, give him a
I
break.
think it was unscripted that the old drunk guy just ran off and jumped in the truck.
No, I think he was escaping the shooting of this movie.
Yeah, he hit a couple of drinks already, and he just ran off.
Yeah.
I'm getting the hell out of this turkey.
Especially
He's got
because
3 more takes. Stop him.
he slinked over to the truck like a Scooby-Doo villain. Like
That's what I was thinking. He running is putting it nicely. He was just kind of slinking over there, kind of like Sasquatch in the middle of a photo shoot.
I mean, Tut, the guy was 100 years old.
That is true.
And drunk.
The sheriff promises, I'll come back later, smooth things out, and get the Ditwallers out of here. You can take possession of the farm and the truck. Yeah, you better. Man, this Mayor Ditwaller, he's a real dickhead, am I right?
He played it well.
He's a real
Man,
baller.
Yeah. Tut, do you know what you call a bee that runs for mayor?
What's that?
A politician.
Thank you. That was wonderful.
You're in school now. I don't want them to hit you with the hard questions in a test and you get stuck. Politician. Then we get to see a bunch of big flatbed trucks arrive in town carrying crates upon crates of live bees to all the local farms for pollinating their fields. But some of these bees ain't like the others. Am I right, Doc?
You are correct.
Sheriff Lyndon just stands there outside old lady Sissy's house with his radar gun, clocking them all above the speed limit, but he doesn't do fuck all about it. That tracks. This guy doesn't do anything about anything. Marriage crumbling, meh. Speeding cars, meh.
I like it.
Guy shooting a shotgun at me, meh.
Yeah, I'm liking him.
Yeah.
I'm on team Lyndon.
Interesting point here, Yak Boy. You're in the hot seat. I know you grew up in a farming family. Your uncles have farms. Your dad's grew up helping on farms. Are you familiar with this process? Because it was new to me, of trucking in millions of bees for pollination every year. Especially because you guys are from Washington State, where this takes place. Is this a thing where farmers bring in millions of bees to pollinate their fields?
Pollinate corn?
It is at the time of, well, there was a thing, and it still is what they refer to as colony collapse. We had just massive amounts of bee colonies dying. And so
Pesticides?
Well, some of it was pesticides. Some of it, I think it was like a bacteria or virus running through bee colonies, killing them. But at the time, which they'll explain here a little bit later in the movie, they did bring in the bees in certain areas. They just didn't have enough of them. And that's how the plants reach their go through their reproductive cycle to mature if they don't have the bees pollinating them. So a lot of places they resorted to basically trucking in bees from other places.
So this is a legit thing. It wasn't made up
Yeah.
for the.
Oh yeah, no.
What is pollen?
Well, pollen is actually the reproductive material. It's plant semen. All right. I said it. Fine.
I was always taught growing up that pollen happens when flowers can't keep their plants on.
You know what? I am totally going to leave. Totally going to leave. I thought B. Thomas Howell was where it would end, but obviously it wasn't.
No, B. Thomas Howe is where it started, pal.
Oh,
Should have ended there too.
Okay, no more bad B puns. I'm sorry.
I already said that already. No one believes you.
Later that night, old farmer Gilman is drunk driving around town. Hey, we've all been there. Swerving all over the road, singing an old drunken song. And then what's going on down on the floorboards? He just sticks his head down under the glove box and smashes into the back of a truck carrying several dozen crates of bees. The shit-faced old fart climbs out of his truck, beer bottles spilling out of the cab with him.
You did that before, didn't you?
We've all been there. And he goes to confront the driver of the bee truck. But the cigar-chomping Mexican dude doesn't speak English. And when Gilman asks for his insurance papers, even though he clearly just smashed it in the back of the guy, that's such an American thing to do. Hey, I just crashed into you. Oh, really? Mexican. Give me your insurance papers.
Could have got away with it back in 2002.
Dude, the Mexican dude just rolls up his window and casually drives off. That's hilarious. I also love how the old fucker smashed into that bee truck hard enough to crumple the front of his truck. And the guy didn't even get out of his truck to see what was what. That must have been a damn good cigar. He was just chilling. It's fine. It'll be okay.
That's the attitude if you live in Sumas, Washington.
I can respect that cigar chomping Mexican bee truck driver. Farmer Gilman realizes then, as he's standing there alone in the dark, that it's not actually his truck anymore that was damaged, but asshole Mayor Ditwaller's in the bank's truck. So he grabs a beer to chug in celebration. What do I care? I don't own this piece of shit anymore. Only thing is, a bee from one of the busted open crates has flown inside the old guy's beer, and it starts stinging and attacking him from inside his throat, killing him. Talk about being buzzed. Am I right?
Talk about buzzkill.
I actually drank a Coke as a child with a bee in it once.
Oh.
I was at my grandparents' country clubs in the summer, had a can of Coke sitting out, and I took a swig, and I immediately felt something in the Coke, and it stung the inside of my cheek, and I spit it out. And yeah, I was just like Old Man Gilman, only it didn't kill me.
No bueno.
No. And I realize, unlike a lot of critters, that bees are necessary. Like Yak Boy said, we need bees. Without bees, we're screwed. So I give them a long leash. I give them a pass. Unlike scorpions or fire ants or, fuckers that fuck with you and they don't do anything for society. I give bees a pass. Stupid fire ants. The next morning, Sheriff Linden discovers old Zeke's body. I guess your problems are over now, he says down to it. He doesn't whisper it like softly. He just yells at the dead guy. Well, I guess all your financial problems are over now. Jeez. And then he radios into police headquarters and orders his deputy, Slim, to get the town doctor to come over and tell him to put his coroner's hat on. Was it just me, or did the dude playing Slim look like Ethan Hawke if somebody had hit him over the head with a can of soup a couple times?
I thought he looked like Ethan Hawke brain damaged. So yeah,
that's what I mean. Like somebody just smashed Ethan Hawke over the head with a can of soup.
But people looking brain damaged was kind of a theme here.
You think that was a Sumas thing?
I think yeah, or a Killer Bees thing.
Tut, did you recognize the actor playing Slim?
Man, I thought I did, but no.
Once you realized he wasn't Ethan Hawke?
Yeah, once I was like, no.
Apparently, he played the doll maker on several episodes of your show Arrow on the CW. He was the doll maker.
Yeah, I don't remember him.
It was 2013, so it was probably in the very beginning. It's been a while.
Back when they used to have
years between
Villain of the Weeks when they were cool. That was fun. They used to have Villain of the Weeks, and it was fun.
Man, I love those CW shows when it was a Villain of the Week thing, and you didn't have to like string together 20 episodes to figure out what the fuck was going on. Yeah. Okay. That night at dinner, Lyndon's nice kid, the little girl, gives him a lesson on bees, how the males are drones whose sole purpose is to mate with the queen and then they die. And the female bees are the workers who tend to the hive and collect the pollen. She also educates her dad on what you call a bee who's had sex with all the other bees in the hive. That's a hornet.
Now that's a joke I can get behind.
A hornet.
I walked away at the right time.
Yeah, you did.
Speaking of which, while he's spending quality time with his daughter, his still wife, Audrey, is getting all gussied up for her big date with Dave, the manager over at the Pick and Save.
Ugh.
I can only imagine what a big deal that guy is in the town.
Oh, poor girl.
Which one? The daughter or the mom?
All of them.
Both. Everyone in this movie.
She's probably what, in her mid 40s at this point? No, probably not, late 30s. I think Thomas Howell was like 36 when he made this thing. So maybe she was
about the same. Yeah.
By the way, I am just about absolutely done with this.
She went from farm wife to cop's wife to working down at the Dairy Castle. Tut, you are almost done with your cigar. I'm in the final third here. I'm getting a lot of the same thing: fluctuating spiciness, the jalapeno, black pepper. I'm getting there's that nice toast with the sweetness and a little bit of that earth underneath it all. And the construction has been phenomenal. Yak Boy, are you in agreement with everything I just said?
Yes, absolutely.
Price point.
Man, this is going to be a tough one because it's a nice complexity.
Great smoke.
But it burned fast. I mean, it's gone fast. I will, and I'm going to regret doing this. I'm going to go 825.
825. Limited Cigar Association. Limited.
Damn it.
You'll never see these again.
I underbid so bad.
The actual numbers produced aren't announced, but they go out to these shops, and once they're gone, they're gone. Which this is 2 for 2 for us. That Ron cigar was damn good.
Yeah, yeah.
And this one is really, I agree.
It's been a joy.
I agree. It's taking me back to the early Matt Booth stuff. I'm digging it. All right. So 825, where you at, Yax?
I said 1050.
1050. Okay. Doctor, care to venture a guess?
He said limited, so I'm going to go 1150.
1150. All right. 825, 1050, 1150. I'm going to go 924. See my notes. 950. $9.50 is what we got these.
Not terrible. Not terrible at all.
It is not terrible. I know it was a quick smoke, but it was a damn enjoyable smoke.
It was, and it gave you a lot too.
Hey, I paid $10 for a beer that I drank a hell of a lot faster and enjoyed than this cigar.
Yeah.
So
it gave you a lot for that money.
That's kind of how I look at it. I've also paid $10 for a hamburger that I ate and enjoyed a lot quicker than it's taken me to smoke the cigar. So everything's relative. I'm okay with that. 950.
Yeah.
Please remember, folks, when purchasing some fine premium cigars from FamousSmokeShop.com, whether they're Room 101 or some other great brands, use your new favorite promo code TNCC20 at checkout. It will knock $20 off your purchase of $100 or more. Tut, your math base now, that's 20%.
That is 20%.
Don't take my word for it. Take his word for it. Okay.
I didn't get a C in calculus for nothing.
Hey, C. All right.
Hey,
D. Thomas Howell.
hey, it's not D. Thomas Howe. It's C. Thomas Howe. You think the C stood for calculus? No, it was Christopher. It's Christopher.
Well, C stood for spectacular.
Okay. Well, meanwhile, Lyndon's asshole guitar playing teenage son, get this. This terrible kid actor would grow up to have a huge career. And I found it most interesting. He played Michelangelo in the last two recent Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movies.
Man.
Okay.
He looked more brain damaged than Deputy Slim.
Yeah, that's saying something.
Yeah.
He looks like he got hit upside the head with a can of Spam. It was like somebody was on set just hitting these actors on the head with cans of stuff. Well, this kid's hanging out. Dylan's his name. Is that right, Dylan? I think so. He's hanging out with a cute girl named Nadine and the stereotypical high school jerk ass named Jared.
Yeah.
Instead of was Jared what you guys pictured Tut was like in high school?
No,
I thought
Jared was way too
best,
cool.
I thought Jared was the best actor in the film.
I agree. I totally agree. I like that kid. He was an asshole. He was dickish. He was smarmy. Every time he was on scene, I hated him and I loved him for it.
He had a role to play and he nailed it. Everybody else.
Yeah, he was a smarmy. He held his own with the well-established C. Thomas Howe. He didn't back down. Instead of the usual Friday night cow tipping, Jared finds the Mexican guy sleeping in his bee truck, and they steal a crate of killer bees from him, and they dump it at a local farm, killing all the cows.
Oops.
Why was that Mexican dude still hanging around there sleeping in his truck? This is days later.
Hey, he's got jobs. He's got bees. He's going to set up and shop.
He's still selling his bees. Okay. Maybe he was hanging around for the big Sumas Honey Festival. Apparently, that's a big deal.
I know. I saw a street banner that said Honey Festival, and I'm like, what?
Yeah, we're gonna learn about that.
Are we going to delve into this a little more?
Oh, you bet your sweet ass we are. Sheriff Linden joins Doc Kearney down at the office for the autopsy on old Zeke Gilman. The doc has determined from Zeke's blood that he was poisoned. Surprisingly, not from all those road beers he was chugging. He was poisoned by a bee, and the farmer pulls it out with a pair of tweezers from Zeke's throat, and suddenly it all makes sense.
Although he was one note, I do like the doctor.
We always appreciate a good doctor, don't we, doctor?
Hey, how can you not?
Now, get me wrong. This guy's not sleepaway camp doctor style.
Right. I don't want to put him up there, but it was still fun.
He had a good mustache. and a good lab coat. We'll give him that.
Good voice. Well, there's your problem right there.
He's a country doctor. He says
a good lab coat will take you a long way, boys.
it will. He says a couple of bee stings in the throat is more than enough to close off the trachea. But when the sheriff asks if bees could have possibly killed all the cows they found this morning in the country, Doc says that Lyndon's going to need to get a forensic entomologist involved to answer those complex questions. Lyndon thanks the doctor and then pukes all over him.
No,
Thanks,
if only
Doc.
he had said, my God, Sheriff, the pure number of bees it would have taken to poison this man is beyond any kind of comprehension. You can't imagine how many bees it would take.
How much venom, doctor?
My God, the amount of bee stinging venom it would take. Every fiber of his body would be in pain.
Doctor, do you think those cows will ever produce milk again?
I'm afraid it's far too early to tell.
Doctor would have done better. Our doctor's better once again. If you are listening out there and you're an aspiring filmmaker and you have a doctor in your film, you're a giant asshole if you don't contact us for our doctor.
Thank you, Cade.
He's not cheap,
But I can be had.
but he can be had. Basically a couple of Four Locos and some Whataburger.
So in other words, very cheap.
But like I said, Lyndon thanks him. Thanks, Doc. I appreciate your help. And he pukes all over. He pukes all over the guy. Doctor, what is a forensic entomologist, and have you ever made love to one?
That's two separate questions. And the answer is a forensic entomologist is a fancy name for someone who
Knows a lot about bugs.
Yeah. And have I ever made love to one? No, sadly I haven't.
Okay. Well, you answered those both very succinctly.
Why, thank you.
Well, luckily they're
I'd like
just.
to make love to the entomologist in Knightsville.
Oh, you bet your. Again, sweet ass. I'm on a honey kick tonight. You bet your sweet ass you would.
My honey sweet ass. I'd like to.
You bet your local honey sweet ass you would. Well, luckily there just happens to be a sexy forensic entomologist living nearby, Dr. Riley Muir. And luckily for Sheriff Lyndon, she's really, really hot. Do you guys think she was hot? I did.
Yes.
Oh yeah. And I believe the sexy entomologist is, I won't call it a sci-fi movie staple, but it's been featured before.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Didn't that chick that was sexy, that Jamie Luner that was on Melrose Place, I think she played an entomologist in one of those movies.
Yeah, there's also been on sci-fi movies a bunch of really smoking hot MILF sexy paleontologists.
Yeah, it's one or the other. Yeah.
Ooh, I need to change my major. I need to change my major to paleontology.
God, I want to star in sci-fi movies.
And look at Nomads. Pierce Brosnan was one sexy ass anthropologist. When Lyndon shows up at her house, he hears her screaming in agony, so he barges in her front door, gun first. Only it turns out she's letting a bee sting her thigh on purpose as an experimental treatment for her multiple sclerosis. Within the first few seconds of conversation, she reveals that she's divorced, and she asks him about his marital status. She's horny and clearly into our hero, isn't she, boys? Doctor, do all forensic entomologists wear cute little cutoff jean shorts like that? And can you imagine a forensic entomologist with this amount of levels of horniness in their bodies?
Well, I mean, he does walk in.
One is, I hope so.
Of course.
And question two is, I dream about it every night.
She's so horny, Doctor. My God.
She's ready to go.
Well, I mean, literally, he does walk in and literally her thighs are abuzz, as is everything else now.
Oh.
Yeah. Would you say that she spread her bee's knees?
I like it.
The only thing better would have been if C. Thomas Howell came in and said, "It's time for you to take a look at bees nuts."
Oh, shit. I almost fell back in my chair. Yeah, I would have liked someone to make a bee's nuts. Well, fortunately, Dr. Muir keeps a large microscope on her kitchen table, as all good forensic entomologists do at their houses. And cue the tense ambient music. When she examines the bee that killed Farmer Zeke, the news isn't good. She says it's a killer bee from South America. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Apparently, there's a lot of different species of bees, but killer bees are the worst of the worst. Tut, you're back in college now, and I've been taking some science courses over the last few years. Do you know what type of bee is known for being indecisive and it can't make up its mind?
Not familiar with that one. I have had biology, but it was molecular biology.
That's called a maybe.
A maybe.
Oh, you had kept talking for a while, Tut. You might have killed off the punchline.
Yeah.
Shame on you.
Yeah, I wasn't really looking for much feedback there, Tut. You kind of overextended yourself.
Another 15, 20 seconds there. You'd have saved us.
I'm kind of looking for the Ed McMahon. No, sir. Don't know.
Okay.
Maybe.
Reduced to Ed McMahon. Yes, sir.
After the sheriff and Dr. Muir go out on the farm and examine all the dead cows, it does indeed seem that the town of Sumas has a killer bee problem. Doc Kearney is there too, and he notices that the sultry forensic entomologist is looking a little weak in her knees. So he suggests that Lyndon take her down to the dairy castle to get her something to eat. And yes, that's where his disgruntled wife Audrey works, so you know there's going to be some fireworks.
Awkward situation, Cade.
Actually, Tut, no, it's not. As they eat and talk about how the bees could have possibly got from South America to Washington State, Audrey and her new beau, Dave, the pick and save manager, walk past them on their way to yet another hot date. And Audrey seems like she couldn't care less that Lyndon's hanging out with a new chick. And I really don't blame her. This guy's a putz.
Ready to move on, Cade.
Now you got the spirit of it, Tut.
She doesn't care.
Everybody's tapping some new ass tonight, sir.
Yeah, she really doesn't seem that bothered by it, which doesn't add up in the scheme of the whole movie, but whatever. Sheriff Lyndon, Deputy Slim, and Dr. Muir hold a meeting with all the local farmers the next day and tell them that they need to stop pollinating their fields until it can be determined where the killer bees are. The farmers all give a unanimous middle finger to Lyndon and tell him to kick rocks. If they don't utilize these bees, the trucks full of bees will just take them on to the next county over and they'll be left out. This is their livelihoods on the line. They ain't stopping shit. Dude, remember Farmer Norbert? He stands up. I'd rather sleep out in the pasture and pick corn out of horse droppings than stop pollinating. That's a bold statement.
Man.
And he gets up and he nods at all the other farmers and they all get out of there. These dudes are hardcore about their pollinating. And I can't say I blame them.
You got a bee problem.
So now
bees flying around killing people.
So now basically everyone hates Lyndon even more than they did before. That tracks. And as if the farmers weren't angry enough at him, Mayor Ditwaller shows up at police headquarters with his entourage. There's these two dudes from the bank that go everywhere with him. They have no lines, but every time we see the mayor, which is a lot of times, these two dudes in suits are just hanging out with him.
And they're just old crusty dudes.
Yeah. And the mayor's frustrated as hell with all this talk of killer bees he's been hearing around town. He accuses the sheriff of stirring up hell with a long spoon. I like that phrase. And the mayor doesn't like it one bit. The sheriff can't be causing a panic and bad PR this close to the Sumas Honey Festival and the soon-to-be-announced groundbreaking of the new Megalomart in town. A big retail store, Megalomart, has been talking for years about coming to Sumas, and they're going to come to the Honey Festival to see what's going on and make their final decision. Doctor, we say it every time we do a creature feature. But why don't you enlighten us and our audience once again on this key ingredient found in all good flicks of this nature?
Well, or apparently every flick of this nature, because it didn't have to be good.
Yeah.
But there's always a corrupt politician, or if not corrupt, a stupid politician. But let's face it, that's an oxymoron.
I think you just say politician.
You say politician, a local politician, and there's always some kind of festival coming up. There's always something big on the horizon that's going to be big for the community.
Yeah.
In this case, it's the Honey Festival. And the Jaws ripoff, Great White, or the Last Shark, as it was known. It was the wind sailing regatta and barbecue. There's some kind of get together going on.
King Cobra was a big microbrewery festival that we did.
Got something going on, and it's very important for local commerce. And so the ne'er-do-well politician, who's usually the mayor, he's not letting anything stand in that way. It doesn't matter what kind of signs there are. It doesn't matter how alarmed he should be at the number of brain dead people that seem to live in his community. That Honey Festival, that wind sailing and barbecue regatta, the craft beer, it's going to go on. The show's going to go on because this local politician's got a lot riding on it, usually something under the table. And it is a staple of every creature feature.
I say good because they're always better if they have this character.
Yes.
I miss them when they don't have this character. And Mayor Ditwaller really goes overboard with the stereotype. He fits the bill to a T.
He helped the proceedings along, I'll say that.
Yeah.
Well, their meeting is cut short as an old farmer runs in the room and says that killer bees are attacking folks down at the farmer's market. But when Sheriff Linda and the mayor run down the street, it's just a couple of kids in bumblebee costumes handing out flyers for the festival. Everybody laughs at Lyndon, even the mayor. And apparently they give zero shits about Farmer Zeke, who was killed by a killer bee. He's not even underground yet. This pillar of the community that's been around forever. Dude, it's funny. Let's bust on his ass. Maybe they should hold an annual Sumas asshole festival, because apparently everybody in this town's a giant asshole.
And, it's a small town, so everybody knows each other. Everybody knows what's going on. There's all kinds of rumors.
This old guy literally died yesterday of a killer bee, and his old buddy, the farmer next door, pulls this little stunt.
Assholes.
Sumas Asshole Festival. They'd all be celebrated.
Asshole?
Sumasshole.
How would you judge such a thing, though? I mean, it would take you forever.
Well, I think we'll learn at the end of this. Mayor Ditwaller would be the king asshole of the
Can't
festival.
find a better judge than Mayor Ditwater.
That competition so far.
Well, back over at the Dairy Castle, Lyndon's son Dylan is giving Nadine some guitar lessons because chicks love a guy with an acoustic guitar. When smug dickface Jared, remember that teenage asshole? He strolls in and he tells Dylan that he thinks it's terrible how his father's being treated. Little pun of his own. Being treated.
I'll give you a pass.
Stupid ass with his stupid bee puns. He gives Dylan a slow clap for not ratting them out to daddy for killing all those cows, but he warns the guitar strumming softy, I'll be watching you. However, right now, I must be going. Ugh, what a moron. You know what? No more cleverly constructed bee puns for me, boys. This guy just ruined it. I'm done with bee puns for the night.
Third time I've heard that.
Take notes. Take notes.
And he's not the only one getting shit on Dylan for their dad's job. Over at the middle school, Lyndon's daughter Cassidy is in tears as a bunch of shithead kids circle around her in the gymnasium, buzzing like a bunch of bees around her, taunting her. And she can't seem to break free of them, so she just sits there and takes it.
It just seemed like such a poorly constructed scene because they look like they were smaller children than her, and she
seems like she could have just left.
Yeah, I actually kind of laughed.
The scene in Halloween 4 where everyone taunts little Jamie for being Michael Myers' niece is so good because they're her peers, and she thought they were her friends. This is like they're like kindergartners, and she's like 10. And she just sits there and takes it. I know my dad's an asshole, damn it. That night, while his kids are home alone sobbing, Sheriff Lyndon's having a romantic home-cooked dinner over at Dr. Muir's place. This guy. He's complaining about how everyone hates him. And she says, well, at least you don't have multiple sclerosis for which there's no cure. And he's like, yeah, I guess.
It is a romantic scene.
He asks, all right, well, I'll bite. What's it like to have MS? And she says that despite the constant fatigue, tremors, and occasionally passing out, it has made her not want to waste a single minute of her life. And that's when she flashes him the forensic entomologist's bedroom eyes.
It has not diminished her horniness.
But yes.
Cut! Motherfuckers!
Oh, geez. Is that a forensic entomologist joining you? Oh, no, it's not.
It's me!
It's a forensic awesome bartender, Nada.
Yeah, what are you drinking?
Beer.
I fucking know it's beer. It's IPA. What's that?
Well, drink it.
Folks at home, you'll recognize Nada not only from our earlier episodes where she would bring us her beers, but she occasionally pops up in Cody's Zoom square and yells at us and drinks Cody's beer. We always love to see her beautiful face. She's drinking it again.
It's strong. It smells stronger as IPA than it tastes like it. What kind of IPA is that?
Nada, how are you?
Hazy IPA.
What?
He said,
How you doing?
I'm good. I'm alive.
You're alive. That's good. That's more than I can say about the people in our movie tonight.
I don't know what movie you're talking about.
Nada, do you know what a forensic entomologist is?
It's too many English words for me.
It's a bug expert.
To the point.
Okay, it tastes better than it smells.
I'm going to add that to your tasting notes, Yax. The beer you're drinking tastes better than it smells.
Yeah, but you're
Yeah,
gonna
because
drink.
I don't like IPAs.
Hey, much like Yak Boy himself.
Much like what?
Nothing. Don't worry.
Fuck you, Kate. Hi, Nancy. I miss you.
Hey,
I
Nada.
cuddle.
Sweetheart.
Hello.
This is how Nada's visits always go. She drinks Cody's beer. She says hi to the doctor. She tells me to fuck off. And then she throws Tut a peace sign and then disappears.
Exactly. It's
All right.
weird.
I'm okay with that.
Eat time.
All right. Bye, guys. I'm leaving.
Bye, Nada.
Bye. Bye, Nancy.
Bye, sweetheart.
The ladies love the doctor. Yax, I am switching over to your Buzz Fairy hazy IPA. We'll see how that goes.
It's gonna go well.
Man, in those early days, that was a regular thing on the show when Nada would come in to deliver our rounds of beers. In those early shows, you could hear me because we were in the upstairs at O'Brien's Irish Pub. I would lean my hand over the balcony to the bar and snap my fingers that we needed more beers. And you can hear Nada saying, "Fuck you, Cade."
Yeah, I don't recall that going off too well when you just leaned over and did some snapping.
We tried a different system where Yax would text her, but she would never answer those texts. He's like, just snap your fingers. I'm like, all right, I see that going well. Volatile Eastern European women love being snapped at. We love Nada. It was good to see her. Where was I? Oh, yeah. He asks what Sheriff Lyndon, he's having this romantic dinner while his kids are at home in misery because of the embarrassment of their father. He asks her, because he has to, she brought it up. So what's having multiple sclerosis like? And she says, despite the constant fatigue, tremors, and occasionally passing out, it's made me not want to waste a single minute of my life. And that's when she flashes him those bedroom eyes. But because Lyndon's a total slapdick, he thanks her for dinner and runs out the front door.
What?
Would have been the perfect opportunity for him to go, it's time for bees nuts.
You know that fucking pick and save manager, Dave, is serving up Audrey his dilly bar across town after hours at the Dairy Castle.
They're putting some cream on in the Dairy Castle.
So what's the holdup?
Sheriff Linden did not dilate.
Dude, I got the sense from his wife it was over. She told him we need to just, people are getting the wrong idea that we're still together. We need to spend some time. Dude, she's ready to move on with Dave.
She was getting the prick and save.
Dude, I actually went in there the other day, Doctor. I was very disappointed in their selections.
Yeah.
The next morning, Dylan rides his bicycle past Sheriff Linden and Dr. Muir as they're inspecting trucks for killer bees on the side of the road. Just as he reaches them, Dr. Muir has a weak moment from her MS, and the kid sees his dad embracing her, but he's really just trying to keep her on her feet. How's that for bad timing? This hot chick almost falls to the ground. You hold her up, and then your son rides by on a bike.
Well, but again, the son is brain damaged, so he may not really.
No, the kid's a fucking idiot. Dad tracks down his son jamming with his lame ass rock band, and he tries to explain to the kid that he wanted to work things out with their mom, Audrey, but Dylan needs to understand that nothing lasts forever in life. Gee, Dad, I can't wait to grow up.
Yeah, well, Dylan, you don't look bad at me. Your mom's banging the prick and save guy.
Yeah. She's down at the pick and suck. I mean, come on.
It's a small town. People talk. But being a grown-up does have a few advantages, as that night Dr. Muir kisses Linden. She can't contain herself from C. Thomas Howell any longer. But again, he pulls away. Dr. Muir says that she knows it's because of Audrey, and that she also knows that Linden is a good man. She says that even though they both know damn well that Dave from the Pick and Save is currently eating Audrey's hot fudge sundae across town at the Dairy Castle after hours, she thinks it's admirable that Sheriff Stupid is respecting his marriage vows. Or I think she said something like that.
Time to move on.
Yes, sir.
Tut, did it make you uncomfortable when I talked about Dave from the Pick and Save eating Audrey's hot fudge sundae?
It made me uncomfortable.
Get Nada back up here.
No.
The next day, Linden, he does take his daughter Cassidy over to Dr. Muir's house to learn about bees from a real bee expert. So he clearly does have some feelings for her if he's introducing his kiddo to her, right?
Or he was just looking for a lazy hour of babysitting.
Or maybe he just doesn't have a fucking clue what's going on. That's my guess.
He just needed to dump the kid somewhere for a while.
Yeah, I just want to go nap for 2 hours. Here, teach my kid something.
I got nothing going on. My wife's over at the pork and save. I'm just going to drop the kid off.
You guys have called it the prick and save, the pork and save. And I get the Tut eye roll for saying he was eating her hot fudge sundae.
Oh, come on. Well, those are, I like the hot fudge sundae. Those are way better than the bee jokes.
Did you like when I said he was giving her the dilly bar at the Dairy Castle after hours?
Would you say that hot fudge sundae had a cherry on top?
No, but it had plenty of nuts. Oh!
Bees nuts.
Remember that crazy, lanky, bearded farmer who thought he was hilarious for pulling that killer bee prank on Sheriff Linden with the kids in the bee costumes?
Yes.
Well, this buffoon is out on his farm driving his tractor around when he sees that a fresh stack of bee crates have been delivered. So the brainiac hops off his tractor, cracks open a thing of bees, and is promptly swarmed by killer bees. Oh, new bees. Just crack this open like an Amazon box.
Something in the water there in Sumas, isn't there?
What a bunch of fucking numbnuts. Oh, sweet, a new swarm of bees. See what they got here. He runs out into the cornfield yelling for help, but the bees just follow his ass and sting the shit out of him till he's dead. Good riddance to bad rubbish. Am I right, Doctor?
You were right, sir.
Speaking of bad rubbish, that night at the mayor's office, Linden and Dr. Muir have been summoned to report their findings. Turns out they were unable to find any more killer bees on all the trucks they inspected. And in another blow to their case, it turns out an elderly woman who died in town from a bee sting earlier that day was allergic, and it was just a common European honeybee that did it. Lyndon tells the mayor that he thinks it's premature to say that Sumas is free and clear of killer bees. But Mayor Ditwaller tells him that your sheriff career will be premature if you don't stop this nonsense right now. We got the Megalomart and the Sumas Honey Festival to think about. You'd love it, wouldn't you, if Sumas was covered in killer bees? Get your face on the National Geographic.
Exactly. I mean, this man is no Murray Hamilton.
No, he is not Murray Hamilton.
I mean, it is, and Murray's turning over in his grave, thinking of what he could have done in Killer Bees. But yes, good analogy.
Wouldn't it have been awesome if their big thing for the Sumas Honey Festival was the rock band Striper playing? Like they were coming into town with their Bumblebee bus, and they all had their black and yellow leather suits on, playing hard rock music. How cool would that have been? To see Striper get attacked by a bunch of bees?
It would have elevated this movie to an entirely different level.
God gave rock and roll to bzzz.
Look, Striper is coming out here for the grand opening of the Megalomart. We can't lose this.
Striper is headlining the Honey Festival. We can't stop this. I don't want to hear any more about these killer bees.
Well, Lyndon decides to get back in his pissed off son Dylan's good graces by taking him out for a driving lesson the next day in his patrol car. He warns him, well, one, he's like, if we get pulled over by the cops, let me do the talking. That's a little in joke because they're driving a cop car. And he also warns him that punk Jared he's been hanging out with is bad news, and Dylan can't help but agree. Dylan also warms up to his old man and admits that he was there for the killing of those cows, and he knows which truck the killer bees were stolen from. Lyndon radios into Deputy Slim, who's napping, which tracks, and tells him to ignore Mayor Ditwaller's orders and put out an APB on a bee truck with Mexican plates. Yak Boy, what does APB stand for?
All Points Bulletin.
You're right. And you are also right, Yak Boy, on the Ray Hazy IPA, the Buzz Fairy. It is very juicy, very fruity, very floral. Man, that's a good summertime IPA.
It is.
I'm actually glad, though, I stuck with the one I did, the Imperial IPA, the Jabberwocky, because it gave that Murder Hornet cigar some strength and a little bit of kick, which I thought it needed. This might have really paired with it well. I wish I could have kind of had them both, but man, that cigar went way too quick. Well, as proof that Jared is bad news, as if we needed this point, we cut to Jared pulling his truck over and stealing some corn from a field. Free samples. He just goes over, pulls over to corn.
You live in a corn community where there's nothing but corn pastures in this entire town. I'm sure you don't have to steal corn.
Dude, he just throws it in the back of his truck. I'm going to skip school today, go home and boil some corn.
You guys casting aspersions on the screenwriters of Killer Bees.
And dude, he's chuckling his ass off. Free samples.
I just love this kid, man.
He plays the high school asshole beautifully. But corn theft isn't enough for this dim-witted corn cob, as he sees an abandoned tractor belonging to that wiry, bearded farmer that recently got swarmed by bees. So he decides to take it for a joyride. But here's the thing. He acts like he's never seen a tractor before in his life in a town full of tractors. What? Sweet. He climbs up on it, fires it up. Awesome. Dude, there's more tractors in this town than cars.
Again, you saying the screenwriting for Killer Bees was a little lackluster.
Just saying I like the kid.
Dude, he takes a joyride. He fires it up with a maniacal grin and a crazy look in his eyes. Not only does he start driving the tractor, he lowers the tiller to the ground, so it starts tilling the fields.
Fucking everything up.
He
Asshole.
He doesn't give a shit. This is the ultimate asshole. And by doing that, Doctor, this isn't going to be good for anybody, is it?
Oh, no, it isn't.
He runs over the entire stack of crates of bees that were delivered to this guy's house. He unleashes millions of bees just on his little joyride. Well, one good thing does come from all this. The bees hunt down Jared as he runs into the cornfield and they kill his arrogant ass. It's worth noting at this point, we don't actually get to see the bees stinging and massacring these people up close. The film is very light on gore and bloodshed. And I wish it would have shown us more, but I think this was originally a shot for sci-fi movie in the early days.
Yeah, straight up budget restrictions.
So, well, and that and content restrictions. Back then, they couldn't show you a lot of the gory stuff. So,
True.
So what we get here isn't really much of anything visceral. I would have loved to see the bees just going crazy, but
I would have loved.
Sci-fi movies got a long leash. We did a Leprechaun sci-fi movie on the show years ago, and they actually got really gory with it. They've really loosened what we can watch on cable TV.
Yeah.
Back in 2002, this was about as good as it was going to. I mean, it was just kind of safe.
I would have liked one addition to this. I would have liked an open frame of that cornfield and just him running across the frame with screaming while the bees tracked him, followed him out of frame. And then you could have done what you wanted to. I know it's camp, but I would have liked it.
Well, in the CGI too, early 2000, it's amazing how much has happened in 20
The CGI looked, I mean, they're clearly CGI bees swarming around, but it didn't look terrible.
I gave it a pass. It's a sci-fi movie in the early 2000s, so technology being what it's doing, that's fine.
To your point though, Cade, earlier before the show, on the Sci-Fi Channel, was the original Alien movie, and whereas what we're talking about, 2002, now in 2021, they were playing Alien unedited. So here it was, a movie that started at 7:00 at night or 6:30 or whatever. And, anybody can watch it. It's not a block channel. It's the Sci-Fi Network. And it gets towards the ending scene. And I mean, like Sigourney Weaver just says lines. She's like, then we trap it and we blow it the fuck out into space. And it's like, she just dropped an F-bomb on a Sci-Fi channel at 8:00.
Dude, everything is
prime time.
Everything has changed so much. I mean, 2002, we were still listening to Howard. I was still listening to Howard Stern on FM radio on my way into work, where he couldn't say shit. And we're living in a world now where on satellite radio, he can talk about anal sex and the most, you name it, he can talk about it, and everybody can get it on their radios and on major network TVs. You hear stuff that you would never hear in a sci-fi movie. That is one thing, the few things over the last 20 years that I'm okay with.
Yeah.
We're not babies. We can hear bad words and see things. We're okay.
For you personally, as a parent, it's got to be harder to police that with kids in the home, I guess, because I mean, like I said, this was a movie that was on at an early hour. No, for me, who gives a fuck? I just think if you're a parent, it's going to be a little bit harder because stuff's on when your kids can still be up in the early evening.
Yeah,
with themes and words and stuff like that. But yeah, for me, I care less.
Well, the simple answer there is I don't let my kids watch TV. My kids have grown up and that's what's so different from our childhood. My kids have never grown up in a house where they could just turn on the TV and watch live TV. Because of their age and because we're from, when they turn on the TV, they turn on a streaming service. They turn on either Netflix or Hulu or Amazon, and they watch pre-designated things that they're cleared to watch. It's not like when we were kids and it was just 4 channels on a fucking dial. And, yeah, I mean, it's so different. But in a lot of ways, it's much easier.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is interesting. Well, in town, Mayor Ditwaller is flirting with 3 busty queen bee contestants as he calls Sheriff Linden over to help pick a winner. These chicks. Hubba hubba. Well, Mayor, I believe we should leave that decision up to the judges, Linden says. In this town, I am the judge and jury in all matters. And don't you forget that, Harris. There'll be no more talk of killer bees. Jesus Christ, man. This guy went from like...
Calm down.
Yeah.
He just met them 3 20-year-old chicks in the tight bumblebee suits. He was horny.
If you say so, Mayor. Oh, I do say so.
Okay.
Got it.
It's fine.
Jesus.
Pick her.
He wanted to take Miss Bee Sting over to the cornhole and save. And
The blonde was the clear winner, and I was glad later we see that she had the crown. She was spectacular. And she wisely left her name off the IMDb credits. I don't want anything to do with this. Look, I'll wear the little bee suit and the bee crown. I don't ever mention my name.
20 years ago, she's like in her early 40s now. She has a family. She just doesn't want anyone to know about killer bees.
I think she's a congressman in Florida, but I could be wrong. I don't know. Ditwaller tells Linden to get back to work, moving that widow Gilman out of her farmhouse so the bank can sell it. And Mr. Mayor, me, can be happy again, which Linden agrees to do. But luckily, when they get out there, lucky for the wrinkled old windbag of bones, just as Linden has begun carrying her cardboard boxes out of the house, he gets a call from Slim that the killer bee truck has been spotted a few miles away, so he takes off in hot pursuit. And just like most things in Linden's life, or I guess everything in his life, this police chase ends in disaster. He chases the truck, who refuses to pull over. Linden reckons it's a Mexican. He probably thinks I'm an immigration officer. All right, first of all, how many Mexican immigrant truck drivers make it all the way to Washington State?
Not very many, one would assume.
Second,
Well, the answer is a lot.
how many immigration officers are driving around Washington State? Are you going to catch a Canadian slipping over here?
Which raises a question that, and I probably can answer it because I've already made fun of the screenwriting at one point. Why would you have the location be in Washington State?
Is something a little bit closer to the border where, they're supposed to be coming from South America?
Because if it was Texas, as Dr. Muir said, Texas or, on the southern border, this would make sense because they come up from the Mexico. This doesn't make sense, Doctor, in Washington State. How did they get here? It turns out a Mexican truck driver got drunk and lost and just drove all the way through North America, all the way up to Washington State.
That is true. You got to have that element of, oh my God, how did this happen here? In Texas, there would have been a little bit of like, well, of course, it's one of those weird things where I always hear stories about killer bees, but I've never really known anybody affected by killer bees.
Couldn't you still have made the 90-minute sci-fi movie by having this be in some town in Texas?
Yeah, probably. I mean, obviously, sci-fi will make movies about anything, anywhere. So
there was 20 other killer bee sci-fi movies I passed over to get to this one.
Wow.
Well, finally, the flatbed swerves off the road, crashing on its side, which unleashes all of the crates of killer bees into the sky in a giant swarm. Uh-oh, that's not good.
No.
Do you guys happen to know why bees stay inside their hives all winter?
Why?
It's swarming there.
It is swarming there.
Doctor, look at me. Doctor, look at me. It's going to be okay. Linden and Dr. Muir race over to the mayor's office and tell him that he has to cancel the Sumas Honey Festival. But we know damn well, don't we, Doctor, how that conversation is going to go. Ditwaller is defiant. The Megalomart head honchos are in town to see our little town at its best. There's no way I'm canceling this festival. I've been stung once, but I ain't getting stung again, Linden says as he marches out the door. I had no idea what that meant.
I didn't either. That pest was going
Dude,
on.
doctor, you're right. This is just the worst screenplay ever written.
It was top 3 at least.
You could tell this chick was like, this is going to be a statement. This is going to hit home. It means nothing. It's stupid.
You don't need to make a statement. Just give it a cool line. We got C. Thomas Howell in this thing.
No. You need that one-liner.
The next morning, the sheriff orders his own family to
Time
stay.
for me to buzz off.
You know what, Mayor? I'm just going to buzz off.
Suck on bees nuts.
I just delivered that better than anything he said in the whole thing. You don't want to believe anything I said, Mayor? That's on you. But you know what? They called and asked about how things were going here. Who? Bees nuts.
And then the mayor stands up and goes, someone talked himself out of honey with breakfast.
Oh, Lord.
Where was I? The next morning, the next morning, the sheriff orders his own family to stay indoors until the swarm has moved on out of Sumas. But his son Dylan snuck out early to go down to the lake with his sweetie Nadine. Doctor, this was straight out of Jaws 2, where the son wakes up early and goes sailing with his friends, despite his dad's warning.
Yeah. Well, at least in that case, Roy Scheider somehow made some sense. In this case, your dad.
Yeah, but this was a total ripoff. It's like, I want you guys to stay here. Where's the older boy? Oh, he's out, just like Jaws 2. Well, Dylan finally out the lake gets up the courage to put his arm around Nadine when a nearby fisherman gets swarmed by killer bees. Cue the suspenseful music. And the teens run off to take shelter in a nearby pop-up tent. It's a little campy tent they run into. Go away. Leave us alone, Nadine yells at the bees.
You want from us?
You gotta be kidding me.
Well, this explains why she's attracted to Dylan. They're both incredibly stupid.
Luckily, Sheriff Linden shows up just as the tent is being covered by thousands of angry bees. He just turns on his siren and honks his horn a couple of times, and that scares all the bees off. Is that a thing?
Bad fucking precedent. If that's
Is that a thing in real life? You can just honk your horn and they go away?
Well, not really, because like killer bees are agitated by sound. Like they'll actually gravitate. So realistically, they should have swarmed his car.
I'm asking Tut because later on in the movie, that could have saved a bunch of people if he just started making noises, and they don't do
Honk
that.
the horn.
Oh, wait. Lyndon doesn't learn anything. Okay.
Nobody learns anything.
And for some reason, when he pulls the kids from the tent, there's hundreds of dead bees all over the tent and the ground.
I didn't understand that.
Did the car honking kill the bees? Is that a thing?
I didn't understand that.
If that was the case, then you should have just simply gotten massive speakers and car horns.
Oh, wait, Yax. So many questions that I don't give a shit if any of them are answered.
Oh.
Dude, I thought that was going to be a thing where they learn like, oh, noise does something so they could save his family. No, that's not a thing. Okay. Well, I thought they might explain why when all these thousands of bees attack, half of them die without stinging anybody. Nope, we're not going to explain that either. Guess what?
It's going to be a thing is the running times completion.
Guess what, filmmaker? If you don't give a shit, I don't give a shit. Of course, when Lyndon shows up at the mayor's office once again, this is like our fourth trip to the mayor's office. He just hangs out there with those two dudes standing behind him. To tell him about the latest attack by killer bees on the fisherman and his kids, the dipshit Ditwaller reasons, hey, that attack happened all the way out the lake, so there's no call for concern. This pisses off the sheriff to no end, so much so that he takes up Ditwaller's request for him to turn in his badge. You can take my badge, Ditwaller, just like you took my farm, but you cannot stop me from warning these people about these bees. He also takes out his side piece, puts his gun on the desk. What the heck do you all care about Sumas anyway? You done sold us out years ago to the Megalomart. And there you have it, boys. There you have it. This is ultimately a redemption story and Sheriff Linden is finally making the bold moves necessary to redeem himself and maybe his very soul.
Do you think he'll be able to get his wife out of the doggy style and save?
It's the I think it is the doggy style and safe. Why would they open such a store there? It seems like that would be a problem for the mayor.
I mean, it's in Sumas.
It seems like the Megalomart people would have a problem competing with the doggy style and save.
Did anybody just want finally to get something out of this movie and have him just use a Clint Eastwood line when he takes off the star? Here's a 7-point suppository, Captain. In other words, shove it up your ass.
I was looking for him to say any kind of cuss words, but then I was like, oh yeah, TV movie. He's not. He said heck in this thing. I'm very proud. I don't know about you guys. I'm very proud as an adult male. I haven't said the word heck ever. I think even as a kid, I said hell.
Didn't we gloss over that at the beginning? Doesn't Zeke say you can go to heck?
He may have.
I think he said something like when he first shows up, he's like, I'll calm Zeke down. So you can go to heck, Sheriff.
Is that how bad TV standards were in 2002? You couldn't say go to hell. You had to say go to heck.
Pretty much.
Yeah. I was cursing like at the ripe age of 10. I was a potty mouth.
I've never fucking said it. And anybody who says heck, I laugh in their face.
In fact, I think one of our classmates in the 4th grade told me I was a potty mouth.
That was me.
Thought you were right there with me cursing.
I remember it both ways. So sensing that Linden
need some more Pantera ale.
There you go. Sensing that Linden has finally kind of grown some balls back, turning in his badge, his estranged wife Audrey and his son Dylan, who up till now has hated him, start helping him pass out flyers and putting up signs warning the town about the killer bees. They're not painfully embarrassed by him anymore. They're helping him. And get this, sitting at the family's kitchen table with them working on these signs is Dr. Muir. He's got his estranged wife sitting to the left of him. He's got his hot, sexy entomologist side piece sitting to the right of him.
C. Thomas Howe.
Because it's Linden, there's really no awkwardness at all in the scene. I got the sense that neither broad wanted to be with him at this point. They're like, all right, there might be a bee problem. We got to work together here. But none of these chicks want him at this point.
Denying the power of C. Thomas Howe.
The son has just escaped from a death-defying experience.
They call him see you later, C. Thomas Howe. Or see you later, Thomas Howe.
See nothing?
See nothing attractive here, Thomas Howe.
But I mean, we're going to get to see a really great example of just the idiocy here very quickly. And this is what killed me in this movie. Not the bees, their acting and their decisions.
But what I do know, Yax, I think I know where you're going, is that they are all on board together for warning everyone to stay inside and stay safe. But just as Linden stands up to go down to Main Street and place a bunch of warning signs along the Honey Festival's parade route, there's a knock on the door, and it's the newly appointed Sheriff Slim. Another Dr. Direct ripoff from Jaws 2. Brody gets fired, and they promote the deputy. He tells Linden that he isn't allowed to leave his house until after the parade by orders of Mayor Ditwater.
We might be giving this movie too much credit to think they stole anything from Jaws 2 and that it was just purely accidental.
It fit.
It would actually show like some initiative on their part.
Fit, yeah. Remember that ancient stick in the mud sissy who was always complaining to Sheriff Linden about the loud traffic out on their street?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Well, the bees swarm on her house next, but she's smart enough to close the AC vents. Then she thinks they're coming for the chimney, so she closes the flue. But the loud buzzing outside her windows is still bothering her to the point where she screams, "Leave me alone!" and shoots a massive hole in her living room window with a shotgun which lets all the bees in to sting the shit out of her.
Later.
That's the second instance where a character has yelled human words at bees. Leave me alone. Why are you bothering us? Go away. This kill scene was actually the coolest one yet by far, though, because we get to see hundreds of bees all crawling over her face. That was cool. Like they put a dummy of her face and had the bees all crawling. That was kind of cool.
Yeah, I didn't have a problem with it.
Even though he's not a cop anymore, Lyndon drives his cop car over to Sissy's to check on her. And not only does he find her dead body covered in bees, but the bees have built hives all over her house. There's honey dripping from the walls. It's a real scene in there. Fun fact I learned when researching tonight's show. Tut, I'll go with you on this. What do you call a beehive with no exits?
What do you call it, sir?
Unbelievable.
Bees didn't leave, sir.
All right, Yak Boy, it's enough out of you.
It wasn't me. It was never going to be me.
It was you.
Be me.
You be quiet. Civilian Lyndon drives his cop car over to Dr. Muir's house, siren blaring, and tells her about his discovery. She explains that bees clearly tried to build a hive at Sissy's house, but it probably wasn't big enough, which means the swarm must be fucking huge. Lyndon asks how they can stop the bees, and she explains that unfortunately, they don't make a can of bug spray big enough. She says it like she knows she's talking to a moron. Well, Lyndon, unfortunately, they don't make a can of bug spray the size of Texas Stadium, so here's what we have to do instead.
You sell one at the pile drive and save.
We'll just have to, once a fucking again, try to talk to everybody in Sumas and convince them to stay indoors for a few days until the swarm dissipates, because killer bees are attracted to large gatherings and noise. Uh-oh. Today's the big honey festival. These anti-maskers, these anti-vaxxers, these good old American townsfolk of Sumas are not gonna like being told they can't do what makes them happy for a few days in order to ultimately save everyone's lives, are they, Tut?
Nope.
That was, I thought, apt. They flat out tell these people, all you have to do is stay in the house for like 3 days and these bees will go away. Nope.
It's a honey festival. Meglamart's going to be here.
We're having fun. I got rights. I'm going outside.
Oh, man, I'm doing what I'm going to do.
Literally, doctor, if you stay inside for 3 days, this threat will go away. Fuck that.
Hey, I'm living my life, dude. You can't tell me what to do.
Yeah.
There's a half-off sale at the Cornhole and Save. I'm going down there to get some stuff.
Fuck you, Fauci. I'm going down to Pick and Save. Getting some fireworks. Some fast-paced music kicks in. Dr. Muir grabs some bee helmets and her smoke gun, and they're off to save the day. Oh, and don't forget that young Cassidy's big 4-H bee presentation for school is today.
Oh, God, how could we forget?
That's at the festival, and as well as Dylan's debut performance with his terrible rock band. So despite them helping Dad with his useless flyers and signs, they all ignored those flyers and signs and went the hell off to the festival anyway.
Everybody's brain damaged.
Ignored the hell out of their dad. I get that. You know what's hard to ignore, Ted?
What's that?
It's hard to ignore just how phenomenal the cigars made by our friends over at Drew Estate are.
That is true.
And one of the tastiest offerings of theirs is the Herrera Steli Miami, crafted by Level 9 Cuban rollers at the famed El Titan de Bronze on Calle Ocho. The Herrera Steli Miami line is expertly rolled in a lavish. Damn it. I'm off my game tonight. Lavish Ecuadorian Habano Oscuro wrapper over a rich Ecuadorian Sumatran binder with select fillers from the Dominican Republic and Nicaragua. The new look of Herrera Steli Miami features rich black and gold packaging and it's available in 5 sizes. I smoked the cigar. We smoked the cigar on the show. We gave it a 91, I believe, 91 rating. We really liked it. It is truly one of Willie Herrera's masterpieces. So jump in your car or jump online right now and get your hands on some. What are you waiting for? Do it now. And while we're talking about really cool stuff, I'd like to take a hot minute once again to let you know about something very cool, Cigar World. It's not a fun-filled amusement park for adults where we ride on pylons of tobacco down waterfalls. We don't have all sorts of awesome nicotine experiences. Cigar World is an online site for real cigar smokers. There you can get cigar news, reviews, and a whole lot more. Also on the site is a cigar research panel called the Testing Lab. You can sign up to give your input on new cigars by taking surveys and testing cigars. Check it out at cigarworld.com/testing lab. Man, for being the biggest event of the year, the Sumas Honey Festival is kind of lackluster, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm thinking there's probably not many people that live there, so it really is a big deal for them. This is a hoedown.
I mean, there's a petting zoo. There's lots of balloons, some booths selling honey, kids running around in bee costumes while Mayor Ditwaller schmoozes and slow dances with one of the visiting Megalomart executives.
It's the event of the year.
Oh, and to demonstrate just how dumb the people of Sumas actually are, they all seem to be enjoying the horrible music of Dylan's stupid band up on stage.
We didn't need any further demonstrations about how stupid they are.
No, I think this solidifies it though. Like Lyndon's teenage son is up on stage with his band, and people seem to be enjoying it. Which
What about the fact that it's clearly not anybody close to his age singing? Some good deep voice guy
I was
singing.
gonna say that little raspy voice sounds like it smoked a couple of packs of cigarettes. That's not him.
I just looked at the guys on stage, and I thought it was like all the guys from Maroon 5 had been hit repeatedly on the head with soup cans, and this is what we're getting. Man, I hate those guys, Maroon 5.
And even so, that's still an insult to them. The guys playing the Sumas Festival were just, I don't know what they were.
Newly promoted Sheriff Slim is grinning ear to ear as he chows down on a turkey leg. He doesn't give a shit about anything. That is until he looks up in the sky and sees a massive swarm of killer bees. Slim starts yelling for everyone to seek shelter, but they ignore his dopey ass because he's a dope. So he climbs up on stage and takes over the mic from Dylan, asking the crowd, "Don't panic. Calmly head to the parking lot." When they yell out why, he points up to the enormous black cloud of killer bees descending down upon them. So naturally, everybody panics and starts trampling over each other. Mayor Ditwaller tosses that Megalomart chick he's dancing with to the side and runs off. The killer bees touch ground and no one is safe. Even my imaginary side piece, this year's top-heavy honorary honey queen, the blonde, hey no, she gets attacked. And as she's being interviewed by the local news, she runs out to the parking lot and bangs on Ditwaller's car window. Help me. But he just rolls up the window. Be seeing ya, he says as he drives off. He didn't actually say that.
Yeah.
And then 10 seconds later, the asshole crashes into a big stack of hay bales where killer bees flood into his car through the AC vent, and thankfully, they end his evil reign as mayor. Dude, Ditwaller
be painful.
I do wish that he would have taken his toupee off and beat a couple of bees with him.
This is why we keep Toad around. That's a good note. Take that thing off and just start swatting them.
It was fun. It was a satisfying. I'm glad that it was a satisfying end to him, but he should have beaten him with the toupee.
Agreed. That's good. That's a really good note. Let me real quick light up my follow-up cigar. Todd, what are you smoking for your follow-up cigar?
I am smoking the JC Newman PDM cigar.
Pearl de Mar, you like it?
I do.
I am smoking the Hoya de Monterey Excalibur Black, which we may or may not do on a future episode. It's very bold and earthy. So there's that. By the time Lyndon and Dr. Muir arrive at the Honey Festival, everyone is gone except for a swollen and useless Sheriff Slim hiding under the barbecue table. Well, almost everybody's gone. Lyndon finds a small group of survivors, including his wife Audrey and daughter Cassidy, in the agriculture barn, cornered by a massive army of killer bees carpeting the walls and ceiling. As they look through the window, Dr. Muir explains that the bees are calm now, as they're forming a new colony. But if they get disturbed, they'll sting the shit out of anything that moves. Just then, Dylan shows up behind him and apologizes to his dad for making his mom bring him here. It's all my fault. I just wanted my band to play, he says. He's totally right. This is all his fault. Should have stayed home. Listen to your dad.
Although you can't really blame him for not listening to his dad. There's really just no way to win here.
Yeah, I was mainly saying that if my kids ever listen to the podcast. Listen to me. Don't listen to C. Thomas Howe. Dr. Muir suggests that they fill the building with smoke, which calms the bees down. So Lyndon tosses his patrol car keys to Slim. Oh, Sheriff, we don't have to do this now, Slim says, thinking that he's returning the patrol car because he's been fired.
I kind of like that.
It was funny. He's like, no, you idiot. And we're in a town of idiots. Like, the fact I'm calling you idiot is huge. Go to Dr. Muir's house and get all our beekeeping equipment. Well, apparently Slim is actually good at something because literally in this movie, 10 seconds later, he's back with the beekeeping equipment. They couldn't find a way to make a transition here. Go get the beekeeping equipment.
Runtime's long enough, sir.
5 seconds later, he's back with the beekeeping equipment. Dr. Muir volunteers to go in. I have multiple sclerosis, so it doesn't matter if I die. And Lyndon really doesn't put up much of a fight with that.
It would have been funny. Okay. I'm like, okay, go ahead. Just kind of shoved her in there.
Yeah, you're right.
But because, as we addressed before and many other times on the podcast, because people are selfish fucking pricks, as Dr. Muir calmly walks in the barn and floods the room with smoke, calming the bees down, everyone in there starts charging for the exit, trampling over her in the process.
Classic.
Fucking people are fucking assholes.
Everybody be calm. Our plan is working.
Oh, hey.
Over in a minute. Ah!
Oh, hey, this chick's risking her life to save us. Me first. Ah! Are you kidding me?
But
it's
working.
Right.
It's working. Look, we'll be safe soon.
The stinging point.
Guess what? A bunch of scientists all across the world have worked 48-hour weeks to fucking make this vaccine to where we can survive this thing. Freedom.
Fuck that noise.
I ain't taking it. I watched a video on YouTube. I ain't doing it. Well, great. Now we're all going to die, fucker. She can't get up. Like literally this army of people trapped in there stomped all over her body to race out of there. And this is on her. She's having trouble seeing what's going on in the smoky barn. So she's the only somewhat smart character in this movie, and she takes off her hood and her mask. I can see better without this bee mask on. Oh shit. All the bees just pile down on her. And she's pounced on by a ton of killer bees. She died a hero, boys. She died a hero. At least that's where we are now. Oh, by the way, multiple sclerosis is not a death sentence by any means. Even in 2002, it wasn't a death sentence. A few years maybe off your life, but you can you can go a long haul with this. So I think she just realized that Lyndon was probably going to go back together with Audrey, pulled a 180 and decided that she couldn't live without him. And that's why she walked in there. Bitches be crazy, right, Yax?
Yes.
That was another thing I learned from Easy. Bitches be crazy.
Bitches be crazy.
Bitches be crazy. Thank you, Doctor. Well, everyone who ran for it and trampled Dr. Muir made it out safely. But for some reason, Audrey, Cassie, and a few others didn't run for it. They'd be fine if they did. So they climbed into a little sedan that was parked in the ag building as a giveaway prize for the honey festival. As they honk SOS on the horn, Lyndon has to explain to Slim what SOS means. They're honking SOS. Huh? SOS. Huh?
Slim fell down and hurt himself at some point before the movie.
The two dudes have to come up with a new plan. Slim suggests setting the building on fire, and fellow living brain donor Lyndon agrees. It's our only remaining option. Burn it down. So Lyndon suits up in a bee costume, the protective kind with the helmet, not like the kids were wearing with the wings and stuff. That would have been funny if he suited up like, I can pretend like I'm one of them, and he puts on a little kid's bee costume. That would have actually really been good. I would have liked to see that. No, I'm alone on that. Okay. And he enters the building, pouring gas all over the place. Time to burn, he says, as some energetic music begins thumping away on the soundtrack. Next thing we know, the car bursts its way through the side of the ag building and everyone is safe. The girls couldn't find it, but turns out Lyndon found the keys tucked above the sun visor. But here's the thing. He set that whole building on fire. If those keys weren't above the visor, they would have all been burned to a crisp. He would have killed his entire family.
Well,
that sounds a lot like a poorly conceived TNCC plan. You know what? Let's set that fucker on fire and we'll figure it out as we go. And get this, Dr. Muir is not only still alive, but she got stung by so many bees that she thinks her MS might be in remission.
All right.
After 200 bee stings, I think I'm cured.
Yeah, I don't think it works that way.
I don't think so either, Yax.
We just need to dump a shit load of bees on Michael J. Fox, I guess, right? Does he have MS?
No,
he has Parkinson's.
Oh, okay.
I don't think that's going to work either.
The good news doesn't stop there, boys. Slim announces that the Killer Bee Massacre has spooked the Megalomart executives, and after several years of debating whether to put a simple fucking store in Sumos, they're officially pulling out. And he even writes the words pulling out on a little notepad underlined to show how important this moment is. What's that about?
No idea. But it must be good because they included it.
Do you think every time he looks over at his son, he reminds himself, I should have pulled out?
I would.
So
You bet your ass I would.
he kind of writes that down as a reminder of what he needs to do if things get hot and heavy with the dog.
Look, I live in a little village, and there was about a year where they talked about bringing in a dollar store. And then 6 months later, we had a dollar store. This has been a 5-year process of the Megalomart people trying to decide if Sumas is the right fit for a Megalomart. It's over. The local shops are going to thrive. Everybody's happy.
All right.
All right.
Well, the only reason that now Megalomart isn't going to come isn't because of the bee swarm. They're looking around going, well, wait a second.
Everybody's dead.
Killing people. There's not going to be enough customers.
Exactly. Everybody's dead. That's why the fucking Republicans are finally telling everybody to get their vaccine. Guess what? Our stocks are going down. People are going to die and can't buy shit. Maybe you should take your vaccine. We can make some money. It's all money, boys. Follow the money.
Follow the money.
Everyone is ecstatic as Lyndon picks up his wife Audrey and twirls her around in celebration. Some mellow piano music plays, and we cut to the Lyndon family farm. Somehow they got their farm back. Don't know how.
Well, everybody was dead.
The bankers were all dead. We could just take whatever we wanted back.
They were dead.
How, you ask? Who cares? Lyndon and Dylan are playing catch, just like in the opening scene of the film. He's even asking Dylan the same set of questions his father asked him back in the day that Lyndon killed his dad. The family's back together. Everyone is all smiles. Do you think we've seen the last of those bees? His son asks. From where I'm standing, son, it's clear skies all ahead, Lyndon says, as we cut to a wide shot revealing a humongous tornado of killer bees approaching them in the distance. The end.
Was that?
I'm sorry. That's the end with a question mark.
Was that a tornado of killer bees, or was it just a tornado?
I think it was supposed to be bees.
It looked like bees.
I thought maybe like God decided to wipe out the town or something.
Hey, I don't question God's motives. I would have been all for that. Even if it was like the country was like 0.000000001 less stupid by taking out Sumos, I'd be okay with that.
I think it would even be better than that.
All right. Well, guys, here's what just a brief thing. When we did the clown movie 2 episodes ago, Clown Doll, I spent hours upon hours watching every clown horror movie known to man. When I knew we had a bee cigar, I refused to do that again. So I pulled up all the killer bee movies, killer wasp movies, killer hornet movies I could possibly do. I could have done the 70s, The Swarm with Suzanne Summers, and like that's like the big blockbuster.
Michael Caine in that?
Yeah, Michael Caine's Swarm movie. I could have done. There's another one, The Bees, with Doc, who's the sheriff in Nightmare on Elm Street, the dad.
The original Nightmare on Elm Street?
Yeah, from Black Sunday. Anyway, there was a lot of
John Saxon.
Yeah, Saxon.
Okay.
Thank you. There was a lot of fucking B movies I could have done, but when I saw C. Thomas Howell, and it was a very good trailer. They put a really good trailer for this. I just was like, you know what? Let's go with this one, and I can make something of it. We can make something of it, and I think we did. It wasn't the best B movie ever made. But then again, I think out of all creature features, whether it be alligators or sharks or birds or whatever, like, I'm not really terrified of bees. I've been stung by them. I've survived. I just wanted something that we could have fun talking about, and I think this movie fit the bill.
I think that this kind of fell into the so bad it was entertaining.
Yeah, I didn't have a problem too much with it.
Honestly, Mayor Ditwaller made this movie work for us, because without him, you got to have that asshole presence, and I thought that guy did really good, and
he helped. He did help. There was just enough stupid people doing stupid stuff that it was enjoyable.
Yeah.
Because going into this that you're not going to take any of this seriously, and it is what it is. So, and that's, yeah.
But I think we actually tied in the townsfolk of Sumas into a lot of the idiocracy going on in today's world, with the way they ignored the bees the way certain folks are ignoring what's going on here. I thought I thought we did really good.
I agree.
That's all I need to hear, Doctor. Your agreement means everything.
Hey, I give myself a B plus.
I have you written down as a C minus, but we'll meet in the middle somewhere. Tug, give us some links.
All right, so join us on Twitter at TNCCcast. You can hit us up on Facebook, Tuesday Night Cigar Club. You can hit us up on Instagram, TNCC_podcast. Definitely subscribe to us on YouTube, Tuesday Night Cigar Club. You can also go to the website and buy your cigars by clicking on the Famous Smoke Shop banner there. It will automatically enter the promo code TNCC20, which will give you 20% off on a purchase of $100, which is a pretty fabulous deal. Do your Amazon shopping there, and I think that pretty much covers it.
Okay. Well, we still have a ways to go before our March to Halloween, my favorite part of the year. So we got a couple shows left, non-horror. We'll find something interesting to talk about for the next few shows. We'll also have a very special guest from our headline sponsor that I'm really looking forward to joining us. He's a cool dude, and we don't just invite anybody to join us on the show, but I got a good feeling about this guy. I think he'll fit right in. So that'll be fun. So yeah, tune in 2 weeks and see where we go from here. Thank you for being with us. And this is what we do, and I thought we did really well tonight. It was a phenomenal cigar.
Yeah.
Thumbs up on the Murder.
Very good. Very good.
Good job, Matt Booth. You guys liked your beers?
Yes.
100%.
Okay. It's very rare that we don't like a cold beer in a Texas summer. When you spit out a beer in a Texas summer, it's a bad fucking beer. So, okay. We'll see you again in 2 weeks. Thank you, folks. Get vaccinated. I'm just going to say it. You know, if not for you, do it for your fucking community. Do it for the fucking kids. Just, you know, be something above yourself and your bullshit freedoms and all that. Just go get a fucking vaccine so we can get back together. We can do this show and the thing. Our kids can go to school without fear and masks on. Just fucking man up and just do the right thing, you fucking schmucks. If you did get vaccinated, bravo. We commend you. It's the right thing to do. And we don't often take stands here on the show, but, you know, sometimes it's not about you. It's about just being a part of your community and doing the right thing so we can all just continue fucking living our lives. And I'm done. Just do the right thing. May the wings of liberty never lose a feather. And that doesn't mean you don't have freedoms, asshole. It just means you have the right to choose to do the right fucking thing and support your neighbors and support your community. Don't be a dickhead. Sayonara, motherfuckers. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Bye.
To learn more about the time I found myself chased butt-ass naked by a swarm of killer bees through an Olive Garden restaurant in Sandusky, Ohio, please read my harrowing creature feature screenplay titled Screw Your Endless Breadsticks, I Need Some Ice for My Balls by Keith A. Howell. It's a true story, which I understand Hollywood loves, so I'm hoping to shop the script around Tinseltown with the lofty goal of getting C. Thomas Howell to play yours truly. He'll obviously need a giant set of CGI balls to pull off my character, but those special effects wizards can do just about anything these days. As for why I was naked in the Sandusky Olive Garden, well, you're just gonna have to wait until the movie comes out to get that answer, folks. Okay, fine. Spoiler alert here. I happened to have endless Italian margaritas that night, and I finally just said, fuck it, and off went my pants. Oh, and by the way, I'd like it if Ralph Macchio's pants would play my pants in the movie. That would be so totally rad. Man. Anywho, in the meantime, you can learn more about the cigars enjoyed on tonight's episode by visiting room101cigars.com. For more on O'Brien's Irish Pub, the live music leader in Central Texas, please visit o'brienstemple.com and download their free smartphone app, where you'll find full beer listings including over 40 on tap, menu information, and a calendar of upcoming live events. To listen and purchase music heard on tonight's program, check out www.fritzbeermusic.com. Thank you for listening to the Tuesday Night Cigar Club podcast. This is Keith A. Howell saying until next time, friends, unless we see you sooner at the pub. So keep it smoky. For God's sake, keep it ballsy as well.